Friday is here again. It's 58 more days to election 2024, the presidential and parliamentary elections. Welcome to the AM show. Now, shortly I'll be serving you the news, followed by the news review. And guess who joins us? Sulemana Braimah. It's been a while, hasn't it? He's the Executive Secretary, Media Foundation for West Africa. And that will be followed by Sports Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. And then I shall serve you my blunt thoughts. The title for today, Blood, Gold and Greed. The shocking fall of the Black Star of Africa. You don't want to miss that. But then we get into our big stories, and peasant farmers are raising the alarm at the source of data to be used for the distribution of cash and equipment through the government's intervention program for the thousands of farmers affected by the dry spell. We're going to be hearing from them as the government begins to carry out this support program. We've heard the Agric Minister speak to some of these issues. But again, Ghana is to host the Africa Skills Week. What does this mean for Ghana and skills development? We'll be telling you all about that later on the show. And as always, we're going to offer you the opportunity of interacting with us. What are your thoughts on the salient matters, those matters germane to your life that we're going to be discussing? You want to stick and stay as we delve into them and share your thoughts with us. After all, this is a dialogue, not a monologue. We're grateful that you've taken the time to join us. Stay for the news. Welcome aboard the News Belt. Now, on to our first story. Dozens of soldiers, armed to the teeth, are returning to base after combing the Brim River and destroying the equipment of illegal miners whose activities are polluting that river. The soldiers burned shangfan machines, water pumps, and any other equipment that helped the illegal miners extract gold from the water body. As part of his response to the demands of organized labor, President Akufo-Addo yesterday directed the Minister for Defense to deploy additional military forces to intensify Operation Halt, which aims at curbing illegal mining activities. Maxwell Agbagba captured the moment the soldiers deployed surveillance drones before moving in to destroy the equipment. He reports that soldiers also used a naval boat to travel on the Brim River to reach and destroy some of the shangfan machines that enabled illegal miners to operate on the water.
In some minutes, the militia is going to blow up that machine that was being used to mine in this forest. And the access to lie down this way. And that is what they're going to use to blow up this machine. He's counting down 3, and then he'll blow it up. It's going to be so loud. Well, so that just happened. Now you can go. Feel free and go. They just blew up that earth moving machine. That's quite a complicated process. So that is the end result of the explosion that just happened here. And one of the soldiers tells me that there's nothing that can be done about this machine again. It can never be used again.
Okay, so let's come this way. Where is the table? Bring it there. Pull it back. Come, let's go this way.
As you can see that the water is very, very, very heavily polluted. As a result of that, you can see the color of the water have changed drastically, and it's something that is very bad. If you look at the water, how they polluted it, the illegal miners polluted it, it's not good. Actually, the state of the waters are bad. Actually, it's bad. That's what I can say. And we are determined, we as a small-scale miners association, we are determined to help so that we can clean all of those who are doing the illegal mining in the water bodies. We want to flush them out so that the water will be safe for everybody to use in Ghana.
In all, we were able to destroy about 18 shangfans that were on the water bodies, and then about 10 machines, water pumping machines also on the water bodies. This is an effort to help bring back the color of our water bodies.
part of the marching orders to the military on this Operation Halt campaign against illegal mining is to destroy every illegal mining equipment used in mining in water bodies and forest reserves. And that is exactly what personnel here on the ground are doing. All equipment belonging to the illegal miners have been completely destroyed. They poured fuel into them. You can see plumes of smoke now going up as they are bent completely, destroyed completely.
Now, our Greek Minister, Dr. Champong, has expressed the government's commitment in dealing with Galamsey. He has, however, maintained that community support is needed to deal with this challenge, as the government cannot do it alone. The Greek Minister has been speaking to George Riafe.
It frightens me. I mean, we cannot allow Galamsey to, if Galamsey continues, we wouldn't have water for irrigation because we will be affecting the final product, which is the crops that we consume. So it frightens me, and it's something that we have to find. We need to have a national dialogue on it. The issue is now elevated. It's an existential threat to all of us, our water, our food, okay, the livelihoods of the people in the community that are being ravaged by Galamsey. And it's something that we need to have a national dialogue about it and agree on what needs to be done. Because Galamsey is illegal. Now we're left with enforcement.
Yeah. And so the backstops with a senior minister like you in government to make the proposals and make sure that it is done, because it has implications on our food supply.
But I'm saying that everything that government is doing about Galamsey, when we say government, it's you and I go in, or the soldiers go in, okay, if we spread the 34,000 soldiers in the country and you spread them throughout Ghana, 34,000 soldiers, they will not be able to even stop Galamsey in Ashanti region. You need the communal effort, okay? Not only the enforcement by central government. You need a mindset change by the people in the community, okay? That when you fight the people that are destroying your land, that are polluting your waters, and when you have backup, the security people come in. But if you just wait for central government, for the lack of a better word, to bring in police people or to bring in soldiers, they don't come and stay there. They come and perform an act and they leave. And the people are in the community. The soldiers are in, okay, let's stop. They go, we come back. But you need a community to take charge. You need the community, and it requires some level of understanding, education.
Welcome to our election headquarters now, and a group of lecturers from the University of Ghana who have declared their support for the NDC presidential candidate John Mahama want President Akufo-Addo to take decisive action against illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey. One of them, Professor Nanama Brown-Klucher, says the menace is destroying Ghana's water bodies and we may soon be forced to import water. The lecturers took to the streets of Accra to campaign for John Mahama. Now,
typically, most of us lecturers have contributed. Thankfully, most of us lecturers have contributed to the manifesto of the NDC. Thankfully, most of us lecturers have contributed to the manifesto of the NDC. So, learning from the classroom, learning from our environment, learning from the society, there are lots that we have put in the manifesto of the NDC. So, we hope that when the NDC comes to power, the right decision-making, the right policies will be implemented in the country. And some of us will ensure that the right things are done when the NDC comes to power. We've taken on the streets as lecturers because the country is going the wrong direction and we want things changed to get to the right direction. As you can hear all over on the streets, everywhere as they see us on the street. We believe that the change that we want is coming, and that's the change that we want. So we are campaigning to contribute to the change. We want to make sure that, as I said the last time, we leave no stone unturned. We want the vote to be very massive for John Dramani Mahama. We know how the issue of the small-scale mining or Galamsey is affecting our water bodies, is affecting our environment. We have put all of us in Ghana, our health is at risk.
Well, another lecturer at the University of Ghana and member of the NDC, Professor Bess White, says the government must demonstrate more commitment to the fight against illegal mining.
I think it should be on record that our campaign on the streets for NDC is also driven by our concerns about how this government's inaction as far as Galamsey is concerned. What future are we living for our children, their children? This is not how Kwame Kuma left this country. He left it in a better state. And we have a responsibility as Ghanaians to leave it much, much better for the generations yet unborn. We live in a country where government officials can afford the luxury of going for medical care abroad and leave the rest of us to basically wallow in the hospitals that they have run down. And so we think that it is not enough to be confined to the classrooms and the labs teaching students. It is important that we get into the general Ghanaian public and let them understand that we go to the same markets, we buy from the same shops, we go to the same filling stations, and that we are feeling the pinch as much as they are feeling it, and that they should join hands with all of us to get this government out and make sure that we bring a government that, at least we have seen from experience, had been much, much more better in terms of delivering development to Ghanaians, bringing infrastructure, and ensuring that we have a much, much better economic growth as far as this country is concerned.
Now, a former Deputy Upper West Regional Minister, Abu Kabibata Kansangbabata, has asserted that the 2024 general elections are not only about the NDC, but a vote to rescue and salvage the country from the misrule and corruption of the new Patriotic Party. Abu Kabibata, who is also an aide to the NDC's vice presidential candidate, Professor Jane Nano Opoku-Agyeman, opined that the behavior of the Electoral Commission was questionable and did not show transparency in the electoral processes, and had therefore called on well-meaning Ghanaians to come out in their numbers to give the NDC a resounding victory. He made the call at the launch of the party's campaign in the Dafiama Busie Issa constituency. Joy News' Upper West Regional correspondent Rafiq Salam now reports.
The Dafiama Bure Issa constituency is one of many constituencies that the new Patriotic Party in the Upper West region has their eyes on, but has never laid hands on it. The closest they came to winning was in 2008 when Matthias Asumapoza defeated lawyer Ekodesa by 113 votes. Since then, it has been smooth sailing for the NDC as they added a hat-trick of parliamentary victories, the latest coming in the 2020 polls. The dominance of the NDC in the constituency appears to be simmering down due to perceived disunity in the party following the party's parliamentary primary. Former Deputy Upper West Regional Minister Abu Kabibata Kansangbabata pitched his strength against incumbent Member of Parliament Dr. Sebastian Sandare and lost by a handful of votes, who thus appears to create a wedge in the party. Abu Kabibata Kansangbabata, at the launch of the party's campaign at Fiang, debunked the notion, stating that the party is unshakable.
Our party now in DBI is unshakable. It's unshakable. The unity is strong. You could see every single person that matters in DBI and this politics is present here. And we are not here just to show our face, but we are here to commit ourselves, commit our resources, dedicate our time and every single thing to ensure that we retain the seat. So NDC DBI, I can assure the media fraternity that is now more united and more solid, and we are poised for victory, no shaking.
He urged all well-meaning Ghanaians to come out in their numbers to vote against the MPP to salvage the country from their misrule and unbridled corruption.
The behavior and attitude of the Electoral Commission and MPP should be a challenge and worry to every single NDC supporter. Why we should work assiduously to win convincingly, to win parliamentary seat convincingly, because their attitude and posturing behavior towards this election doesn't show clear transparency in the processes. So what we need to do as a political party is to win convincingly. So I'm urging every single supporter of NDC, party member, professional market women, that this is an election that NDC cannot afford to lose. But we need to salvage the image of the unborn generation.
Member of Parliament for Wa West, Superintendent Retired Peter Lenchene Tubu had Tatman Sat on his mind and recalled the commitment of former President John Dramani Mahama to revisit the killings that occurred in the 2020 polls.
There is no soldier worth his salt who will do what happened in Tetchman South in 2020. And I am waiting for the opportunity to reinvestigate that matter, as stated clearly by President John Dramani Mahama. From 2025, when the NDC is in power, the Tetchman South killing will be reinvestigated and the culprits will be brought to book.
Dr. Sebastian Sandare, who is seeking re-election, spoke among other things the development that he has brought to the constituency.
NDC.
The seat is for NDC. It is not for Dr. Sandare. It is for NDC, the Fremo will say Isa. Since it is for all of us, what we need to do is to work to keep it forever.
It is our
Reporting for Dre News, Rafik Salam.
That's it for our election headquarters, but on to our next story. As the Ministry of Local Government has launched the Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme under the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project Phase 2. The scheme, launched in Bolgatanga in the Upper East region, aims at providing financial assistance and training to the most vulnerable populations, empowering them to break the cycle of poverty. Correspondent Albasori now reports.
The Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme, also known as Urban Class, is a social protection initiative and an extension of the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project Phase 1. It is being implemented by the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection with funding from the World Bank. The project, which is expected to end in 2025, aims to provide access to productive income-generating opportunities for the poor living in the urban areas of Ghana. In a speech read on his behalf, the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, Martin Ejay Mensah Kosa, said the launch of the Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme demonstrates the government's commitment to the agenda for jobs creation and leaving no one behind.
This gathering further demonstrates government's commitment to broadening and enhancing social safety nets, ultimately uplifting impoverished communities across Ghana and addressing urban poverty.
The Ghana Productive Safety Net Project Phase 2 program, which will benefit about 10,000 vulnerable urban and peri-urban people, was designed to address poverty due to the severe challenges in those areas. Professor Prosper Larry is the national coordinator for the project.
We realized at COVID that it was not enough to just think that the poor are in the rural areas to the neglect of the peri-urban and urban areas. So today, we came to look at the urban model, where we'll be extending some support to municipal and urban areas, close to 50,000 beneficiaries, having done close to 60,000 beneficiaries for the rural. It is our expectation that these poor and vulnerable people largely draw drawn from LEAP households will be giving complementary support for them to start income-generating activities that will help them to smoothen consumption.
A productive inclusion specialist with the Ghana Productive Safety Net Project, Desmond Duametu, said the Urban Complementary Livelihood and Asset Support Scheme offers training and resources to extremely poor households to establish sustainable income-generating activities.
We normally would train you. After you have gone through the skills training, then we give you a startup grant, which is up to the tune of $300. $300 is the equivalent. It's in CD term now. We are going to give you that money as a startup grant, and it's an individual grant. And for these poor beneficiaries, that's a lot of money, a lot of injectment into their businesses.
Upper East Regional Minister Dr. Hafiz bin Sali urged the municipal and district assemblies to ensure a successful implementation of the scheme.
Urban families, like their rural counterparts, deserve opportunities to build skills, increase their incomes, and secure sustainable livelihoods. We are confident that this initiative will have a transformative impact on thousands of urban households in the region and beyond.
For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
Now, the Central Regional Education Directorate is calling on parents and stakeholders to collaborate in improving educational outcomes in the region. According to the Directorate, it is time for the Central Region to reclaim its position as a leader in education in Ghana. Speaking at the second edition of the Koika Science and Math Quiz Competition, Deputy Regional Education Director Harriet Odra Aidan Sego highlighted the need for additional interventions to drive educational improvement. There's more in this report.
The second edition of the quiz competition assembled schools in 5 districts who competed in STEM-related topics. Central Regional STEM Coordinator Richard Atapenyin explains the motive behind the competition.
The chemistry tutors who supervise the practicals told me a district like KEA performed excellently. They could understand the question, they could understand the concept, and they did everything that is expected of them. So they scored a very high mark of 23 points. Another district too, like Aguna East and Goma East, they understood all right. They did part, but they couldn't finish it up. Maybe it is due to lack of enough preparation. Maybe they didn't have time to prepare well for the practicals. So this presupposes that we must enforce the practical lessons in the various schools, because Koika, through that intervention, has given all the school that is labeled Koika schools practical equipment for them to practice in the classroom or in the lab.
Deputy Regional Education Director Harriet Odra Aidan Sego believes the interventions being put in place should make the region reclaim a top spot as a citadel of education in the country, and called on stakeholders in education to support the drive.
Parents. A lot of us parents are not being responsible now. I don't know whether it is this fancy tradition of the children belong to their mother's family, so the fathers are relaxing and the women are burdened, so it's like my bread, they get tired and then they are not up and coming. Because if you look at, even in Cape Coast, the attitude we show when it comes to education it needs much to be desired. So I think that with the education we are doing, I know that just the past Fashion Festival, the Cape Coast Development Youth Association or something has also put something in place. So they even did quizzes and a symposium to help the students. And we are hoping that all these interventions we are making will take us back to where we were. And especially for the basic school students to be able to come into our secondary schools. Well, it looks as if now we have the schools, but other people are making use of it. So that's our hope. And we know that with the interventions we are making, everything will be fine.
Now, schools in the UNFPA implementing districts in the Central Region have been supported to present projects aimed at reducing sexual and gender-based violence among students. According to the Adolescent Health Unit in the Central Region, they're assisting the students to develop solutions to what affects them is the best way to deal with sexual and gender-based violence in schools. 3 schools were selected for the best presentations and awarded 3,000 Ghana cedis each to help implement their projects. There's more in this report.
Speaking after the competition that saw 3 schools emerging as standouts, Central Regional Adolescent Health Coordinator Emma Delali Foley indicated the initiative was simply to offer the students the platform to embark on a project that will help bring out solutions.
It's important because adolescent health also based on the pillar that the adolescents themselves should be involved when it comes to implementing interventions for adolescents. So this is a step in the right direction to involve the adolescents themselves to come out with interventions that work for them. And that's how come we are involved the adolescents, basically the schools, because they are in a confined area where interventions can actually be implemented. So when it comes to sexual and gender-based violence, Ghana Health Service has stakeholders or collaborators that we work with, like DOVSU, like Ghana Education Service, like Department of Social Welfare. And so we are leading the pace for the intervention to be implemented, supported by UNFPA. However, whatever happens in the school, if a case is recorded, then DOVSU needs to be involved through the district or municipal education office. So it's not just Ghana Health Service, but all collaborators that work in the area of sexual and gender-based violence are brought on board.
The students came along with their teachers and school nurses and did a presentation with 3 judges assigned to rate the presentation. The teachers and school nurses have been sharing their thoughts with Joy News.
So per our point, we said we are going to give education to all students, and we gave out dates, and we invite a resource personnel. Afterwards, we will give counseling to the survivors. We don't call them victims again, we call them survivors. Then we train ambassadors, some of the students as ambassadors, to help create the awareness and then to effect change. Then we'll make a box of hope that survivors or victims can write their concerns and drop it in it, so that we'll trace them and then give them the needed help.
The message we are sending back to our school community is that gender-based violence cannot be condoned. It cannot and must not also be swept under the carpet. At the moment, we have some victims who have been named, shamed, and maybe jailed. So going forward, my school community should be aware of whatever is involved so that possibly they will stay away from it.
Efutu Secondary Technical School, Obriabua Senior High School, and Potten T.I. Amedia School from the Gomoa East District emerged champions.
Time now for our business updates. In our first story, economist Professor Lord Mensah is raising some concerns about government's decision to offer interest-free loans to some farmers hit by the recent dry spell. The Agric Minister yesterday started offering interest-free loans to some commercial farmers hit badly by the dry spell. But Professor Mensah says this could come with some challenges for participating banks.
Yeah, so if you look at our economic structure, I mean, there's no free money anywhere, whether you are sourcing the money internally or you are sourcing the money externally, unless you are getting the money from, I mean, the Islamic, banking sector elsewhere. That will account for, I mean, interest free. But even that one, they may want to know the possible cash flows of, these farmers, so that there could be some kind of, profit sharing. But, can you vouch on the kind of farmers we have to extend loan facility to them so you can expect something back into the state? I don't think so. So from where I sit, I think, it has to do with, doling money out to the farmers so that they can cushion themselves in times of drought like this. Yeah, obviously, it is expected. Once, government takes money from the banks and pass it on to the farmers and no returns are expected, obviously, and there's no price on the money, obviously, you should expect that it will affect the balance sheet of the bank, because it's more or less, giving loans, which at the end of the day, you won't get it, back. Even if you are going to get it back, I mean, it will come with, some kind of depreciation or some kind of, distortions as far as the economy is concerned. So from where I sit, I think this is just money, government money to the people, to the farmers.
To wrap for our business updates, and of course, that's how we're capping off the AM news this morning. But you want to stay with us for the news review. Executive Secretary of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Sulemana Braimah, joins me for a conversation. We'll be right back. And we're back on your TV screens. Time now for the news review. Guess who joins us? Executive Secretary, Media Foundation for West Africa, Sulemana Braimah. He is my guest. Mr. Braimah, good morning.
Good morning, Ben.
It's been donkey years. It's been a long time, and it's really great to have you on board this morning. I hope you're well.
Yes, I'm doing well, and great to be reconnected.
Okay. All right. So let's get right into it. I want to believe you've not forgotten how we do this. I'll give you about a minute and a half or two maximum to share your thoughts on something you're very passionate about. Over to you, Mr. Braimah.
Well, Ben, thank you very much. I think in our country today, certainly the most important item now is this whole thing about illegal mining and the issues that have come up. Organized labor, threatening strike, pulling out last minute, GMA saying they would not join, UTAG declaring strike, and today I think Catholics in Accra are doing a prayer walk. I think these are very, very significant developments in the history of our country. But let me say that whilst I absolutely condemn the illegal mining activities that are going on and the consequences that we are all seeing in terms of the destruction of our environment and water bodies and all of that, and therefore would say every step must be taken to combat it. I think that perhaps we have all been too late to the party. And I say so because, look, the illegal mining that is happening and all the consequences we are seeing is for me, to a large extent, because of the misgovernance, because of the looting by leaders who have been in power over the years, whose activities have left our young people desperate, our young people hopeless, our young people jobless. And therefore, it's almost like anything goes. Look, the kind of damage that our leaders have done to this country is perhaps more significant than maybe what we are witnessing, but it's because this one is quite visible. We can see the water bodies polluted and all of that. But the deprivation of the wealth for the future generation, by the current administration and previous ones is unimaginable. And I think that collectively we should have been up in arms when these things were going on. When we have a president governing over a poor country as Ghana, throwing away $58 million into digging a hole, and then we were quiet. When we have fraudulent contracts being awarded, we were quiet. When we have millions of dollars being thrown away into inflated contracts, we were quiet. And all the kinds of things that were happening, which could have been used for investment to employ our young people, investment to get jobs for them, investments to create a better future for the future generation, we were all quiet. And so I think going forward, this should teach us a lesson that we should no longer tolerate the kind of governance that we've had under President Akufo-Addo and even under President Mahama those years. But I think that certainly President Akufo-Addo has given us the worst form of governance for our country, at least since I grew up. And these types of things must not be tolerated till the point where we have hopeless and jobless youth who think that, look, if the politicians are stealing millions, what is the point in me doing this to get thousands? And I think that is what I would say. Well,
thank you for those cogent thoughts. And let me just sneak in this. You know that there's the rebranded Operation Halt, and yesterday our very own Maxwell Agbaba was in some of these areas. Some activity going on. Are you enthused? Do you think this is what will sanitize the system and, solve the Galamsey menace?
Ben, I don't think so. Look, if we don't right all the wrongs in our governance, I mean, our military personnel, how many are they in Ghana? How many are there to be able to spread all over? If we say we are deploying from the new recruit to the highest ranked officer in our military to the bushes to combat Galamsey, I don't think that we have enough men to be able to be everywhere. The most important thing is that our leaders, even as we speak, going into elections, look at the kind of things that they are doing. Look at the positions that they are taking, as though money is everything. And until the leaders stop stealing, I don't think that the young ones will stop the Galamsey. When the leaders stop stealing from the people, and the people know that every little thing that is being generated is being invested into their future, is being invested into creating jobs and opportunities for them, I am sure they would begin to have something that they can look up to. But if we just say, they must stop, whilst we are stealing and looting even bigger amounts from the people, I don't think that we're going to succeed. We're going to just do firefighting. After some time, it's gone down. After a month, the water bodies are cleared and so on and so forth. But it will come back because people are hopeless. People don't have jobs. People don't have anything to do. And that is not to say that, therefore, I'm justifying illegality. What I'm saying is that our leaders are committing far more illegalities. They are committing far more crimes against this nation than what the youth are doing. And they themselves, having the power, must do the right thing, rather than always venting the spleen on the young ones who are so desperate and hopeless. If the president and his ministers and all the people stop stealing from the state, I am sure that the moral authority will be there to push for the end to this illegality that is happening. Until that happens, I'm saying we don't have enough policemen, we don't have enough military men to be on the ground to say that we are halting. You go there today, they will not be there. Tomorrow when you leave, they will return because they must survive. And the survival is, their inability to survive is as a result of the reckless expenditure, the looting and the stealing. There are leaders in this country who are behaving as if this country will collapse, if this country will be destroyed, so that they and their children and their wives and their family will make money, they will be prepared to do that. And that is the kind of governance that we've had. And if that is the situation, please, there's no way we can succeed with this illegal mining fight.
Thank you for your thoughts. Let's quickly get into the papers now. The Daily Graphic newspaper, centralized governance system must change. That's according to the Ochehene. Ghana Grows Agro-Fusion Festival opens in Koforidua today. Government moves to revoke mining in forest reserves law, a law that never made sense to me, LI 2462, but it made sense to some people. It made sense to our members of parliament. Though, of course, some of the systems through which some of this legislation gets in. Sometimes they don't even see this legislation until, matters come to a head. And some people have called for more review, even as the standing orders and others have been reviewed. There ought to be more review because on the blind side of people, you have these come in and then we have LIs like LI 2462. You are struggling with illegal mining. You are struggling with mining in general. Then you say now, Munko, forest reserves, Munko 2. How does that make any sense? But wait, when I share my blunt thoughts today, you'll get a whiff of what I'm really going to get into. On the back page, Black Stars AFCON hopes in jeopardy after stalemate with Sudan. I just had a feeling that we weren't going to be able to do much against the Sudanese under Kwesi Appiah. And yesterday, talk about squandered chances. I'm going to say this today. As much as I feel, yes, we should hold our Black Stars up, I think the Black Stars are also one area causing financial loss to the state. I just said it. The Black Stars, they are causing financial loss to the state. And the women's football, the ladies' football, where they've been winning laurels, is it Hazake's ladies and the others? One went even to the first, African Cup tournament, placed second. The princesses, the queens, all of these doing great things. We will not pump enough money to them, the women's football. The men's football we keep pumping in, and some of them have grown horns over time. They feel they're already stars. And, you know, today I just want to single out Mohamed Kudus. He's someone I like a lot, but he needs someone to let him come down to earth and realize that he's not there yet, and he needs a lot more work. You should go and look more at what Abedi Ayew Pele did from the 80s, late 80s into the 90s, before he became the 3-time African Player of the Year. We should look at some of those things and give this support to our players. They are doing well, but obviously there are things that are very wrong. So I don't know whether you'd like to quickly reflect on the Black Stars before we move into the substantive stories. Sulemana.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate that we couldn't win yesterday, but the truth is also that really at this time, we don't have a strong team. You know, we don't have the team that we had in the days of, you know, the group of players, Stephen Appiah, Sule Muntari, Michael Essien, you know, Olile Kingston, and so on. That particular group of, you know, players, you could feel the disappointment if they don't win. But this one, I think everyone who is honest is like, oh, I love my country, but this one, can we really win, and all of that. So at the end of the day, if it happens the way it happened yesterday, you just get disappointed, but not too surprised. And I think that is what it is. And for me, I would still say, look, when you get your governance wrong and leaders are not doing the right thing, the effects will be everywhere. When everything becomes like money is everything, players are looking at how much bonuses are being paid. Players will be striking about bonuses being paid in cash or not in cash. Players don't trust management and all of that.
Right.
Of course, the effect is what we are seeing.
Well, I agree with you, but to the extent that we get that many chances and squander them, I think Kudus alone about 3, Semenyo and others, then it tells you that, look, we don't expect them to be performing the same way the Michael Essiens and the Sule Muntaris were performing. But when you are down with 2 points, or is it 1 point they had before, and you need something of this nature, and now they are what? They are second from the bottom. I mean, it's embarrassing. But anyway, it is what it is. You are right. When leadership is bad, it trickles down to everything. It seeps into everything. The Ochenhene Osajefo Amwetiel for repeating has described the prevailing centrality of government as outdated, warning that until it is changed, Ghana will continue to experience, quote, baby step development. He said, with the governance system that excluded 75% of Ghanaians from the opportunity to participate in the governance of their own country, quote, we are not going to see significant development. Besides, he said, because most of the rural people did not have access to job opportunities to earn decent incomes, they did not pay taxes to contribute to nation building. He said Ghana was a nation state, yet various governments had acted as though, quote, we were a city state. He recalled how Ghana's first Prime Minister, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, told the nation how resources in most rural parts needed to be taken to Accra for the well-endowed to subsidize the less endowed. And we did that. The promise was that we were going to go and do this and return the development amenities to rural Ghana, but it never happened. He goes on and on about building capacity and then spoke about the 3-day football gala. But I want to throw this challenge back to the Ochenhene and all paramount chiefs and to Otumfuo to himself, especially as we deal with Galamsey. Someone called into the show yesterday at the tail end and said that if we want to deal with Galamsey, we should arrest all the chiefs. And that then we should, you know, interrogate all of them, conduct investigations, and those that are not involved in Galamsey, who have no inkling, let them go back. And those that are, deal with them. It's radical, but think of it. Are these chiefs saying that they don't know what is happening in their backyards? There are palaces in whose vicinities Galamsey is going on. Are they saying excavators don't fly? They don't fly and land in your backyard and start digging. And respectfully, you know, when some of these chiefs, and I've heard Otumfuo also even take on some of his sub-chiefs and others and talk about them. But you see, we are sitting down. In the Ashanti region, for example, is one of the worst affected. Ashanti, Western, Eastern. Will we turn around later and come and complain that this is going on? And what role are the chiefs playing? Are they that handicapped, as they say? Because we know chiefs on the take and some who are doing their best not to do this. So it's pathetic. I'll come to you on that shortly, but let me go to page 11 before I do, maybe 11 and 13, and then I'll come to you. Government moves to revoke mining and forest reserves law. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapor, has expressed optimism that the Environmental Protection Mining and Forest Reserves Regulations 2023, LI 2462, will be revoked before the end of the year, by which time a lot more Galamsey would have happened, by the way. And he says, speaking to the Daily Graphic last Wednesday, Mr. Jinapor said the instrument for the revocation of the LI was expected to be laid before Parliament when the House resumed on Tuesday, October 15. Of course, this is Mr. Jinapor, who drinks tap water every day. Then let's get into other stories. I think there's a continuation of that story on page 13, so I'll just do those ones. Reactions, Sulemana?
Well, first of all, on the part of the chiefs, I think that a lot more can be done by them. We want to see a lot more, public commitment on their part in terms of the fight against illegal mining. But I think that we cannot blame them entirely because, chiefs don't have the power to arrest, and even if they do they really have the men to enforce arrest and all of that? All they can do is basically to complain to the state authorities. But if you are in a region where your district chief executive is overseeing Galamsey work happening, your regional minister or chairman of the ruling party is, involved in mining big time and all of that. As a local chief, really, what can you do? And so, yes, we want them to do a little bit more, but I think it all comes down to our law enforcement agencies and the person that we've all vested our power in, which is the President of the Republic. On the LI that allows for mining in forest reserves, I don't know whether it should have taken the citizens and the public to rise up, for the minister to know that that law doesn't make sense, for our parliament to know that that law doesn't make sense, for the president to know that that law doesn't make sense. So as far as they are concerned, if people were silent, they were okay to let our forest reserves be mined out and be destroyed. And then every June, they come up with this charade saying that they are greening Ghana, commit a lot of millions, another avenue for chop, to dissipate resources in the name of greening Ghana, when you are giving the already existing green to be destroyed. And again, look at the people who are getting the forest reserves to mine. The recent stories that the Fourth Estate did, forest invasion, who are the people in there? Municipal chief executives, regional ministers, parliamentary candidates of the ruling party. Are we saying that when the minister was granting those permits and all of that, he didn't know that these people were going to be engaged in activities to destroy our forest reserves? So as I said, there are people in this country who are prepared to destroy the country so long as they and their family will benefit from it. And that is the kind of leadership that we have today.
All right. I will tell you, though, when I talk about chiefs, in Jema, there's one Father Blay who has spearheaded a community effort. He has a PhD in, environmental issues, and he has collaborated with the community. He sensitized them. There have been attempts to bribe the chief with hundreds of thousands of cedis, up to about 750,000 cedis. He is ill. They have tried bribing him in addition with a vehicle, with a house, with treatment in South Africa. He has refused. That is the sort of commitment I'm talking about. That communities could go that extra mile and say, no, not here. And chiefs can spearhead that because they are the leaders in those communities. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Page 7, sustaining girl child development. 13 years ago today, the United Nations General Assembly declared October 11 as the International Day of the Girl Child. We celebrate all girl children today. Yesterday, we had 3 of them from the Central, Volta, and Northeast regions in the studio. To all girl children, happy International Day of the Girl Child. The publisher newspaper, Snit Boss, assures pensioners scheme is viable and will protect your financial security. That's what he says. Ugandan government partners Champong Group for landfill decommissioning. Military destroys Champong on Brim River as government steps up anti-Galamsey fight. Catholic bishops clear air on environmental prayer against Galamsey. I'll quickly get to that. The Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference, and I'm going to be there myself as a Catholic. I will be there today. The Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference has dismissed claims that it is organizing an environmental prayer protest walk against illegal mining. Most Reverend Gabriel Justice Anoche, the Archbishop of Kumasi, clarified that the event is being organized by the Accra Archdiocese and not the national body, as some reports suggested. This statement comes amid attempts by certain political figures to politicize the initiative. Politicization, attention, you can't politicize it. Archbishop Anoche emphasized that the church stance on Galamsey is purely environmental and moral, urging that the fight against this menace should not be turned into a political issue. So whatever people say, no matter how they try to politicize it, Catholics in the Archdiocese, yours truly included, we're pouring out on the streets to lament the situation. It is not political. It will never be political. The Daily Guide, and when I'm done with the Daily Guide, then Sulemana, you can come in with your thoughts, including this as well. 2024 elections, EC begins ballot papers printing today. We do know the ECOWAS team has said, I think it's in the Daily Graphic, that they feel Ghana is ready for election 2024. Nigerian woman caged for human trafficking. We did not facilitate smuggled cocoa. That's according to the police. And then there is the bit about Akufo-Addo declaring war on Galamsey. So let me just take a quick look at some of these stories. The Ghana Police Service has denied claims of facilitating a consignment of smuggled cocoa beans, which were intercepted at the Misiga security check point at Boku in the Upper East region. In a statement issued on Thursday, the police noted that, quote, "We wish to state that the Ghana Police Service yesterday, October 9, 2024, intercepted the smuggled consignment based on intelligence and were in the process of escorting the truck to the Boku Divisional Police Command for the consignment to be handed over to Cocoa Board and the culprits investigated and prosecuted by the police in line with the established protocol with Ghana Cocoa Board." Ayo. That is what the police is saying. And on page 6, there is the Electoral Commission saying the printing of notice of poll and ballot papers for the 2024 general election will begin today. In a letter addressed to the political parties and signed by Deputy Chairman in charge of operations, Samuel Tete, the commission said the printing would take place at 8 printing houses in Accra. And finally, police saved 2 thieves from being lynched. 2 suspected male thieves have been saved from the jaws of death by policemen at Tafu in Kumasi in the capital of the Ashanti region. The duo, said to be 30 and 35 years old, were on a motorbike when they snatched a bag containing money from a victim. But luck eluded the 2 suspects as they were knocked down by a taxi when they tried to escape with their booty. Reflections?
Well, Ben, let me start by commending the Catholic Church for their consistency. I think that the Bishops' Conference, for example, has been exemplary in its consistency on national matters. And I wished we had other groups emulating what the Bishops' Conference, has been doing over the period. Consistently on national matters, we've heard, either the head of the Bishops' Conference issuing a statement. And I remember, I think there was one time that the conference was led by a bishop from Upper West region. I can't remember the name, but I remember, how they were very active on taking positions on national matters. I wish the Bar Association was doing the same. I wish the Christian Council was doing the same. I wish the Office of the Chief Imam was doing the same, and all the other allied groups, particularly the TUC. I think it's good that they've woken up from their slumber, better late than never. But I think what is going to be critical is they being able to sustain the momentum into the future. Because where our country is today, it does not require any pre-election, any pre-election maneuverings. And then after elections, everyone goes silent. And then we are looking forward to whatever the new government would do. Okay. I think the pressure has to be on from now till wherever or whenever. Otherwise, this country, I doubt we would be able to recover, because morals have been destroyed, environment has been destroyed, the economy has been destroyed, individuals have been destroyed, institutions have been destroyed, and it would really take a serious, sustained momentum of action by all manner of groups to get our leaders to act right and to get our country to recover.
Okay. Let's get into Republic Press newspaper now. 18 Champons go down as government takes bold steps to combat Galamsey. Judges blast LGBTQ plus protesters. 2 DCEs resign. And a 55-year-old man arrested for setting a girlfriend and 2 children ablaze at Tanoso. There's also Galamsey. CDAG expresses disappointment over organized labor's strike suspension. Yesterday, Professor Inning had some choice words for them. But let's get into the stories. I'll start from pages 3 and 4. So the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana has strongly condemned the behavior of protesters who marched on the Supreme Court premises led by Member of Parliament Samuel Nati George to express their discontent over delays in hearing anti-LGBTQ plus cases. The protesters presented a petition to the Chief Justice, but their conduct and insults directed at the judiciary and the Chief Justice were deemed unacceptable. Justice Henry Anthony Kofi, president of AMJG, expressed the judge's displeasure at a press conference in Accra, stating that the protesters' behavior and insults left much to be desired. He emphasized that every court from district to supreme has procedures that must be followed, and no judge, including the Chief Justice, can disregard these procedures. That's what the judges are saying. NDC cries foul again, complains about ballot paper printing. And the NDC has urged the Electoral Commission to stop printing ballot papers until issues with the voters' register are resolved. The NDC's chairman, Johnson Esiedun Ketia, questioned the EC's decision to proceed with printing ballot papers using an uncertified register. And that's where we are on that. And the Ministry of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development has announced the resignation of 2 district chief executives from the Atebubu Amentim Municipal Assembly in the Bono East region and the Biakwaya District Assembly in the Oti region. The resignations, which took place in line with the Local Governance Act 2016, that is Act 936, were confirmed in a press release issued on 10th October 2024. The DCs who have resigned are Edward Owusu, Municipal Chief Executive of the Atebubu Amente Municipal Assembly, and Millicent Kabuki Kabo, District Chief Executive of the Biakwaya District Assembly. Reflections? Quick thoughts?
Well, on the printing of ballot papers, I can't understand the position of the NDC at this point, because if it's about the voters' register and the EC was talking about printing the register, I guess that might have been a different issue. But printing of ballot papers, and we are barely 2 months away, and I thought that at the last IPAC meeting, a lot of the issues were resolved. I think if they are really substantive matters, we all need to be aware, we all need to be sensitized. The NDC needs to convince all of us that indeed there are very, very critical issues to be resolved within the register. Otherwise, maybe we'll get ourselves into a situation where we discredit the election to the extent that even if the NDC turns out to win, would we then say that they've won a discredited elections, or they won because the elections wasn't, free, fair, and all of that? I know at every elections, or during every elections, the opposition would always cry foul. But it is important that we also do things in a way that would not completely destroy and discredit the process.
Right.
So as I said, if there are legitimate issues, it's important that we all get to be aware of and push the EC to do the right thing. But otherwise, we don't need to take actions that would completely destroy or discredit the process.
The final bits I'm getting into, I'm not going to read much. ABC News, Mahama mismanaged the economy even without COVID-19. That's according to a UPSA Don. And former President John Dramani Mahama's competence has been called into question by a professor of accounting and finance at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, Professor Isaac Buedi, the Dean of Accounting and Finance at the UPSA. And he actually said that in the absence of a major global pandemic, the Mahama administration was incompetent in managing the Ghanaian economy. Quoting him, he says, "Let us take a step back into time. During the period President Mahama was at the helm of affairs, there was no major crisis or a pandemic on a global scale during his time, but he messed things up." I could say a number of things on that, but I'll leave it to you. And the last bit, Ghana TVET Service launches Japan-Ghana Automotive Engineering Program. In an audacious move to modernize Ghana's automotive industry and boost vocational education, Ghana TVET Service, in collaboration with Dapol Company Limited, Green Auto Factory, Aichi and M, has launched the Japan Ghana Automotive Engineering and Cultural Exchange Program under the theme Auto Connect. You can check out details from there. Final words, those are the final stories, and we're gone.
Well, I think that there is no doubt that President Mahama, whilst he was in power, could have done better. People were disappointed. People were agitated. People felt, they were not getting the kind of leadership that they deserved. And so people voted him out overwhelmingly. And that was the first time, as we are all told, almost like 1 million people voted against President Mahama in favor of President Akufo-Addo. So the expectation was that, well, people needed something far better than what President Mahama was doing or President Mahama had done. And for me, what's important now is, have we gotten that, what we voted for? And I think that, if anything at all, like I said, in my view, President Akufo-Addo has been the worst president in my life, at least since I became conscious politically. And yes, Mahama could have done better, but I don't think that President Akufo-Addo has proven that. I kept saying that Mahama lowered the bar of governance to a certain level. That was so easy to jump and to raise it. But it appears to me that President Akufo-Addo rather took the bar and put it down. And that is where we are. It's unfortunate, but like I said, we need a sustained campaign, not a pre-election gimmicks, like, doing this, doing that to win elections. Whoever emerges victorious after the 2024 elections, the current campaign against illegal mining, campaigns for good governance, campaign against corruption, and all of that has to be sustained as though we are in a crisis. And that is the only way we can get our leaders to do the right thing. And it's been proven that, all the things that were happening, certainly President Akufo-Addo should know that a lot of things were going wrong. Right. Why did it have to take organized labor to threaten and this one to do this before now he say, okay, when Parliament reconvenes, we will revoke this LI, we will do this, we will do that, and so on and so forth. It means that the only thing governments and leaders listen to in this country is when we rise up. And that action must be sustained and not momentary.
Sulemana Braimah, thank you very much for joining the conversation. It's refreshing once more having you join us. Sulemana Braimah is Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa, and he joined the conversation. Let me just salute Mudasiru, who always does these fantastic bits for me. My outfit this morning by Siru Africa. You can check him out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at SIRU-Africa, or you can call 0557 029 138. 0557 029 138. We'll be back after the break with more action. So you do know around this time we would have served you sports. We are about to serve you sports, but I have a surprise guest for you. Today is the International Day of the Girl Child, and guess who joins me this morning? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Annabelle Asari of the Holy Cross High School. Good morning, Annabelle.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Is this your first time on TV?
Please, no. Okay. I'm actually a host of this generation TV show.
Okay. So you see, my celebrity co-host joining the conversation. Let me just ask you quickly, what does the International Day of the Girl Child mean to you?
Okay, the International Day of the Girl Child is an activity for girls to share out their voices and then their visions for the future. The theme for this year is the girl's vision for the future. It inspires what we want to see in the future as a growing girl and some of the changes and challenges we face. So that's the whole summary of the International Day of the Girl's Child. Thank you.
And yesterday I had some of your friends, contemporaries in the studio, and they were talking about uniting for peace ahead of election 2024. Because without peace, going to school and all of that will be problematic, right?
Please, yes.
Okay, so would you like to add your voice and call on our political leaders to give us peace?
Okay, so I'm a girl and I'm 14 and I'm getting prepared for school. If there's no peace in the country, like school system is going to run really slow because even now, BC students are still waiting for their results. It's set to be released on Monday, but we really do not know if it shall be released or it shall be postponed again. So what we are hoping for from this election is that everything goes on peacefully. A leader is elected to rule this town in a way that is going to bring peace and harmony to the nation. And also the voices of the girls are also going to be heard. Thank you.
Wonderful message. I look forward to co-hosting the show with you someday. But right now, I'll invite you to introduce sports for us.
So, coming up next, we are going to have Prime Take, which is going to be presented by Muftau Nabi. And Muftau Nabi is Muftau Nabila. Muftau Nabila is speaking to the former Minister for Sport, Neelante van der Pai. Please enjoy the show. Thank you.
In our manifesto, we've tried to support the development of sports in various ways, especially supplementing the allowances that is paid to footballers. So you think as a government, we'll be supporting the allowance that a team is supposed to pay to players. Then I will sit down as a minister, fold my arms, and when I hear that Muftau is supposed to give 5,000 cedis to Neelante as support, Muftau will give 3,000 and keep 2,000, and I will laugh over it. I will come to you straight and get the 2,000 and add up to the place.
But I don't know. But that doesn't happen. That doesn't. These are things we've heard, but there's no evidence to back that it happens.
You've heard. I'll find the evidence. Because people don't know how. Some people don't know how to get the evidence and the facts and the distance to support those things. Because sometimes the players are scared of the people they talk to. As I sit here, there are so many footballers who come to me every day to complain about how they are treated.
As even as a media person, I get them please
Thank
on
you.
my phone.
Thank you. But you are unable to talk about it because the environment we find ourselves. Oh, but when I'm the minister and you come to me with those facts, I will confront the person. I said, this is what you are doing. I'm handing you over to the police. I'm handing you over to the NIB. Look, I sit here and I get people who will go and get some Okada dry rider and then go to boxers and then use somebody's records. So Muftau has fought this number of fights. He's won this. And then they take Muftau out because of visa.
Yeah.
They will take him out into a ring. One blow, Muftau falls. They take the money. All that they're interested in is the money.
And I recall Richard Comey trying to fight the boxing authority over that. But they were like, he's speaking out of ignorance.
No, you see, it affects the image of Ghana in world boxing. That anybody, they call it Achiagbeshin or something. What sort of nonsense is that? Are we developing boxing or we just taking advantage of the boxers? There's a story up to today. I continue to live about with it. This boxer, Sarkodie was a welterweight boxer. He was taken to France and he was put in a ring against a light heavyweight boxer. One blow, he fell out of the ring. Today, he's sick. Today, he's sick. We had Francis Kwade. Went through the same.
There was
Apart from
that was also sent to Germany.
Yes.
He suffered same.
Recently, a boxer was sent to Nigeria. He was not a boxer. He's an Okada rider in my constituency. He was sent to Nigeria as a boxer. If he was killed.
Who killed him?
You see, so you sit down as a minister and you say, because of people would talk about some journalists, so don't. I
Somewhere last year, okay.
You see, we must sanitize the system. I don't believe that you must exploit somebody, put his life in danger for your selfish gain, for your capricious intent. It won't happen.
The capricious has come.
So it's something that we must look at seriously. It's not only football.
It appears to happen in every sector.
Yes.
I had a call from the one of these Yoko. Yoko called me. They had evidence about how an official was exploiting young talents to like young children between the ages of 12 and 15 to the US. Was kind of exploiting them. So someone from Yoko called me and they wanted what the regulations of FIFA say when it comes to taking young talents.
Yeah, teenagers.
Yes, teenagers. And I told the person what I knew of the CAF and supported with the FIFA statutes and all that. He called me back and said, Mufta, we have a story. We have a case here. And when we are ready, we'll come for him.
Recently, I've seen a video going viral. Some footballers, presumed footballers, were taken to Russia.
Yeah, just recently.
Look, if you know the number of Ghanaian supposed footballers in Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, and other places, and they call you and they lament to you, they tell you what they are going through, it's not easy. People are exploiting them. International law is against such things. And they say, as a minister, I'll keep quiet. Nilanti will keep quiet. Me?
I remember when I did the story about the FIFA World Cup money, how about like $1.1 million of Ghana's World Cup money was unaccounted for, and all the things that happened. And to be frank, right, I had assassins come after me because of that story.
You see?
Yeah.
You see? Why should that happen? So that story, I will not let Muftau talk about it. I will talk about it myself. So they will come for me.
But actually, my sources gave me the story. I did all my grounds. I checked the FA. The FA were not willing to speak. Then I wrote to FIFA. FIFA were willing to speak. FIFA sent me emails.
You remember this brush I had with the FA about Ghana Blasters playing a friendly match with Russia, and the contract was tampered with. The amount we were supposed to do was...
I remember.
And then people say, I shouldn't have talked about it. Why shouldn't I? Somebody will use Ghana's, our national team, to make money for himself and not account to the state. Look at what we are going through today. We spent close to about $82 million, and we've been banned from playing on any of our stadia. And as a minister, I should be comfortable with that. When we needed money to take care of Black Princess, volleyball, hockey, and other sporting disciplines. Well, take this from me. If John Mahama becomes president and he gives me...
He decides to make you a sports minister again.
Sports minister. Within 1 week, those people who have chopped our $82 million to make sure that we are banned will cover the money.
But they've not chopped the money. The ministry released a long statement. And in fact, it's 85 million Ghana cedis.
Were you convinced about 85 million Ghana cedis?
Yes.
Were you convinced about the statement?
It is not.
Look,
I'm not a technical person to actually.
Just last weekend, I was at Isipon. Just last weekend, I was at Isipon. The week before that, I was at Accra Sports Stadium. In fact, last weekend, I went to Isipon, I went to Jendu.
Yeah, Jendu Park.
I wanted to be sure that really, has there been any renovation at Isipon?
But the former finance minister came on the floor of Parliament and said it was 90-something% done.
90-something%, and we've been banned. So he has to come and tell me why he paid that amount of money and still we've been banned.
So, Honorable, let me just ask this question.
I'm not, you see, unless we handle governance, especially sports, with that revolutionary spirit, we will not get results.
2 questions. I wrote to FIFA. FIFA in their email told me that they've given the FA about 200.
I saw it.
You saw that story?
Yes, I saw it.
Yes. But the FA says that the money was not meant for the maintenance of national stadia. But the justification that was sent to FIFA, they wanted to maintain 80 natural grass pitches, right? And that it was for Premier, Division 1, and Women's League venues.
Thank you.
So the obvious question I asked was, okay, the Bawayara Stadium is used by Premier, Division 1, and Women's League clubs. Accra, Cape Coast, and all the other venues. But the FA said that the money FIFA gave to them was not meant to maintain any national stadia. From where you sit, if Asante Kotoko, the likes of Asoka Deportivo, the likes of Kim Faisal, all use Bawayara, Great Olympics and Co., all use Accra Sports Stadium. We have suggested to the FA that just like a paltry amount of that money could have also been spent on maintaining those pitches.
You know why the FA could just sit down happily and tell you this? Because they created a notion that FIFA's money is out of control of the state, and it is the FA's responsibility.
It's our money.
But the money is never given to the FA president in his name as Keto Kreko. That money is not given to, if I were the FA president, it's not given to me, Nina Tivanapov, to you, Muftao. The money is given in the name of Ghana. Anybody occupying the GFA presidency is not there on his own. We have entrusted the management of our football into his hands. So if any money comes to the office in the interest of Ghana, in the name of Ghana, it is erroneous for anybody to tell me, as a minister, I don't have the right to ask questions about it. You understand me? If it is your mother and your father's funeral that you go to conduct, and the FIFA sends you that money, FIFA sends you that money, fine, it's your money. But if that money was meant for Ghana,
80 natural grass pitches in the country. They use it to build boreholes and water tanks. And
somebody went to jail for misapplication of funds.
Yeah.
They call it willfully causing financial loss to the state. It's a law. It's there.
But this one is FIFA money, so how can it be for the state?
It's FIFA money.
FIFA say you are a member of our association, so we are giving you money to be able to do certain things. So how
is this country called Antigua? Or it's called Ghana?
My final question.
No. FIFA gave the money to Ghana. Is that not it?
Football Association.
Football Association.
Yes, please.
Ghana Football Association is not on its own. It's not, let me say, an island. Who do they represent?
Ghana.
Thank you. They don't go to FIFA meetings on their own. They go representing Ghana.
And the interest of Ghana football.
When they get to FIFA and they sit down at the conference, GFA is not written there.
It's Ghana.
It's Ghana. So at that particular time, they are representing Ghana. So anybody, well, 2025 will soon be here. I just pray that your mama will not give me the sports ministry. But if he gives me the sports ministry,
you're going to fight people.
I'm not going to fight people, but I'm going to bring accountability, transparency, truth to the ministry.
But you've been there before. Did you bring these?
I've been there before. I fought the prevalence of those inimical diseases to the development of sports. And a lot of people, especially most sports journalists, did not understand me because a lot of them were in fact, pocket.
In all sincerity, I was one of those people who did not understand because the perception created was that you were on radio often. So sometimes I was like, why is Honorable always on radio?
Let me tell you the story. I'm a journalist, you know, and the GFA is fond of always setting agenda. They have their people in the media.
Yeah.
So they first will set the agenda, and then you, the ministry or the minister, will have to come and defend yourself. This time I decided to take the fight to them.
You are being proactive.
Yes. Look, the best way to defend is to attack. I'm a sportsman. And today, you know, football, the most, let me say, productive style of play
is to attack.
Is to attack.
But were there certain things that you felt you should have handled them differently? On a hindsight?
For now, I don't think so. I don't think I regret for any action I took as a minister for youth and sports.
I remember you and I spoke.
I was sad I didn't get enough time. If I had enough time, you will enjoy football. Our stadium would not be empty by now.
I remember you and I spoke when I was advisor, and we were struggling to qualify for the World Cup. We had gone to lose to Egypt. We had drawn against Uganda. I remember you talking about how the UK were so excited at the 2016 Olympics about the performance of other teams. So maybe God just wanted Ghana not to be able to qualify for the World Cup in 2018, but to do well in other disciplines.
Yes.
You still hold that position?
I still hold that position.
So you have no regret that we didn't qualify for the 2018 World Cup?
No. If we had done well, we'll have qualified. We didn't do well, so why should we have?
But you were blamed as being the reason why we didn't.
The issue is simple, Muftau. If we agree that for now we are not doing too well in football, that's why I feel sad for Otuado.
Those were your exact words.
Thank you.
I recall 2016.
If we're not doing too well in football, and we know that if we give a little bit of attention to athletics, we'll do better.
Yeah.
Boxing will do better. Why don't I? Why don't? There is no country in the world that has been at the pinnacle of football for, let me say, 2 decades.
No, you.
Today, Brazil is Brazil not going down?
Yeah, you will dip. Even Germany had their difficult times after winning the World Cup. Yeah.
Even Spain.
Yeah.
Everybody.
They got knocked out of the group stage of the World Cup.
Yes. You understand? So today, you could see Brazilian athletes at the Olympics winning medals.
Yeah.
Why do you think they've moved away from football and going to athletics? Jamaica has all of a sudden now also moved to boxing, football, to this thing of athletics. Yeah. They don't care the athletics, but they also see that they are beginning to build some competitive advantage in
the area of football.
In football, well. So they look at the wonderful football players littered around Europe and in America from Jamaica.
Yeah.
Today, I don't think Ghana will be confident lining up against Jamaica.
Oh, no, we won't.
Thank you.
I remember part of the 2006 World Cup, we caught them, we beat them 4-0. This time, if you catch them.
Recently, they beat the US.
Yes. I remember.
So sometimes you need to sit down and say, look, can we move away from this particular discipline, take people's attention off, rebuild? You understand? Whilst we focus in this area. So if I were in the ministry years back, we didn't qualify for the World Cup. Okay, I say, look, we have 4 years. We didn't qualify. So even 2 years and then 4 years. So 6 years. Let's rebuild. By the next World Cup, we'll be ready. But within this period, let's focus on boxing, athletics, so that we can capture medals at the Olympics and all. Look, how can we go to World Championship and then win medals? Olympic Games, win medals, and then the next Olympics, we didn't qualify at all.
Yeah.
Boxing.
We couldn't get even one to qualify. Yeah, that was quite a difficult thing, though.
Meanwhile,
unacceptable.
There were people that our boxers beat at the last Olympics to win medals who came back to the Olympic Games and won medals. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's because we don't plan well. We don't sit down to really analyze what our priorities are. Which sporting disciplines at this particular moment in time, looking at the global picture, which areas do we have competitive advantage? We don't have unlimited resources. This is the resource we have. How do we manage these resources to make sure that Ghana make maximum impact in a particular sporting discipline? If we had gone to the Olympics and we have won 2 medals, wouldn't it have been pleasant more than the World Cup?
Oh yeah, the jubilation would have been something else. When Julian Alfred won the 100 meters gold for St. Lucia, it was massive. Yes,
Botswana.
Yeah, Botswana.
Are you happy that today Botswana has an athlete who is a world champion, Olympic champion, has a quartet that has taken bronze.
Yeah.
Botswana.
It was silver.
Thank you.
It was
silver.
Yeah.
Botswana and Ghana.
Because, in fact, if Benjamin had not finished for the US, I'm sure the Chile would have won the gold for Botswana. Yeah.
So it is something that we should sit down and look at. I tell people today, Kenya is happy having athletes doing 100 meters, 200 meters.
Yeah.
They are moving away from the long distance because they see that the Ethiopians and the Ugandans are now disturbing them. So they are now coming to the short distances.
Yeah.
Kenya today, Kenya had always looked up to Ghana in boxing. Today we cannot stand Kenyans in boxing. Ugandans are beating us. Even Zambians are beating us in boxing. Even Nigeria boxers are beating us. and we are happy with it. We are already embarrassed as a country. The whole international, everybody has come to appreciate the fact that Ghana, we can't take care of ourselves. It's embarrassing. And I was happy the way Stevie Appiah, Derek Boateng, and some of these old players are now voicing it out because they have lived in that frustration. Even their time, they always complain about the pitch we play football.
In fact, when Thomas Partey met the vice president, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, he made an appeal. He said we want better pitches to play.
Yes. It is not about politics. It's about better pitches for us to play because those players there do not do politics. Those players there, irrespective of who is in power, they will come and play for Ghana. So as a government, provide them with better pitches. That's why I'm saying that this government has lost its priority. Poor managers. Because if you can proudly say...
I'm not going to the political angle.
No. The vice president said they built 6 new stadia. He said it. The vice president said they built 6 new stadia.
At where?
When they were launching the All Africa Games, the African Games. He said it. He said they built 6 new stadia. Where are they?
Hey, I've not heard this one.
Look, the Minister for Sport can proudly say that we built 200 and something astroturfs. Astroturfs. You just said, FIFA said what? They're giving money for the development of natural grass pitches.
80.
Because even FIFA is frowning on astroturfs because of the health implications of playing on astroturfs. All over the world, people
but they have exceptions for some.
Fine, but what I'm
saying
because
they are standard astroturf that.
What I'm saying that if you are building recreational pitches, don't call them football pitches. They've been exposed now. They wasted our money in building recreational pitches. Some places they dry clothes there. Some places they play dance there, and not they do funerals there.
The one in Jamestown.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a very beautiful one. Now you go there, it is stones. People go and dry their stuff on the floor.
You do this whilst we could have used that money to innovate Azuma Nelson Sports Complex. You understand? Olympics could be playing there.
A white elephant.
We could have used that money to develop Airwork Stadium.
They say it belongs to the military people.
And so what? Accra Asofo played Africa Cup.
Yeah.
There.
I recall that, yeah.
At that time, it didn't belong to
I've read
Accra Asofo. He still belonged to the military.
The miracle of Airwork.
Yes.
But you agree.
You understand? So, it is not... Look, many of the clubs in Europe do not own the stadia on which they play. Manchester United is going to build a new place.
Yeah.
Who are they building together with? With the Manchester City Authority.
Yeah.
Partnerships.
Yeah.
You understand? The City Stadium is not owned by City.
No.
It was built by Manchester City, the City Manchester for the Commonwealth Games in 2002. So it is not just a matter of today. Is Asante Kotoko not playing at Obuasi Lankley? Do they own Lankley? They don't. You understand? So it's myopic when people sit there and say that we can't use money to go and develop Airwork. When you develop Airwork Stadium, are the soldiers going to eat the stadium?
In fact, many Ghana Premier League clubs have used it. Yes. I remember Legon Cities was there. I remember
Today that is the only. Our athletes were training until Legon was developed. Our national athletes.
Oh yeah.
That's where they were training.
That
horrible Tartan
track. It's too bad. It's really, really bad.
You understand?
Extremely
so
bad.
If I were the minister, the money we use to go and build some AstroTurf and Wale Wale.
Why are you mentioning my place?
I will have used that money. I will have used that money to do Sakasaka Stadium.
Yeah, in Tamale. Yeah.
In Tamale.
Yeah.
Because people in Tamale will feel more comfortable enjoying soccer at Wale Wale, Sakasaka.
Yeah.
Because the first division, second division clubs will play there.
Yeah.
Then the premier club can, or the national team can now focus on Tamale Stadium.
Yeah. I remember the famous when the...
That was when I had my first, let me say, harrowing experience as a commentator.
What happened to you? I remember speaking to the former PLB chairman. He's not a Conte name. Mr. Webreke.
Yeah.
He said he was made to sit on the floor.
Don't talk about it.
I saw a newspaper and I enjoy go around for their life.
You know,
Honorable, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you very much. Thank you. There was one controversial question I didn't ask. During the 2010 World Cup, especially
the World Cup itself?
Yes. I remember the time you became
in South Africa?
Minister. Yes. I remember the time you became sports minister. Because of those, or let me say, the frustrated relationship you had with the FA, people began to create so many stories.
Yeah.
And one of them was that in 2010, when Ghana was getting ready to play Serbia, its opening game, you went to the FA and you were asking for the team sheet.
In what capacity? I wasn't a sports minister.
They said you went to ask for the team sheet for the late Prof. Mills.
Oh, I wasn't a sports minister. And at that time, the sports minister was a Akuya Sena Danswa.
Yes.
And Akuya is not a small girl for me to just... And if Osamus needed a team sheet, it's a sports minister he will ask, not me. I was just...
So you've never gone to the FA to ask for team sheet?
But I know as a footballer, and as a former, let me say, manager of a club, and I've been in sports administration, I've been a commentator, I know what to do. And you see, at the World Cup, if you want to get team sheets are released sometimes an hour before the match. And everybody could have it. So why will I have to go to the blaster and go and ask for team sheet? You understand?
Life, you know, balance.
Instead of going to the blaster management or the coach or something, I will just go to the media center. And the team sheet will be there. If sometimes there are surplus. I could pick one.
Yeah.
You understand?
We've been to tournaments. We have the privilege of
the team sheet will be at the media center. I will just pick one for Pop Samuels. And at that time, any kindergarten boy in Ghana could determine who our first 11 was.
Oh, yeah.
At that time.
Maybe apart from Andrea starting ahead of Sulemana Braimah, everyone could tell.
Yes. You understand? So I need not, and I know our players. So when they get to the pitch, and perhaps I most want to know those who are playing.
But they say you were that powerful within the NDC, so you had so much control.
In fact, the first match I wasn't even in South Africa. I went to South Africa after the first match.
So you were there for the Australia game?
Yes.
For the Serbia game. Oh God. Okay.
I wasn't there.
You see, some of these things are the rumors that people would tell when
I had to stay behind to make sure all the other issues pertaining to allowances and everything had been done before I left. Because...
but you were not sports minister. Why were you?
No, I was a presidential staffer.
And that's what I'm saying.
I was in charge of operations.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You were very powerful.
What I'm saying is that at that time, we were not able, the government had not been able to make sure everything was done for them to have that congenial atmosphere that because transfers had to be done. And the president decided that because of my background, I should stay behind and make sure all these things are done. Because he doesn't want to have a situation where he will be there and then the players will come complaining to him
about their money.
You see, sometimes there's always a need for you to have somebody who you can call a contact person, an arrowhead, who will be able to make sure things are done
on your behalf.
So that's what happened. If you look at what happened in 2014, you definitely will know that because some of those things were not done properly, that's why we had the problem we had. You understand? So 2010, everything was smooth. There was nothing happened. The players were happy. I remember we went to the dressing room before the match with the US.
You had access to the dressing room?
Yes. President Mills asked.
Oh, okay.
And he went and he even told them a story about himself when he was playing football and all those things.
Oh, okay.
And that livened up the players. It relaxed them for the match. Because he himself said that he could sense that the players will be tensed up this match because it's America and all those things.
The quarterfinal was a huge stage.
Yeah, so he really felt that he should just pep them up a little. And he talked to the minister arranged it. And he went and talked to the players. And then we left. About 15 minutes we left. And you could see that the players on the field were a happy bunch of people.
Wow.
You understand? If he had been home, he would have talked to them on phone. But he was present.
He was present.
He was present, so he decided to at least give them a pep talk. And you see, where we were staying and the distance between where we were and where the team was far.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so initially we wanted to go and visit them in their camp. You understand? But we're advised by the security at that time. In fact, South Africa at that time, security was so tight.
Yeah.
And where we were was a whole cordon of, it wasn't only Ghana president who was there, other presidents were living in the same area. It was, I remember I was even going to Santin because there was this fun, village in Santin. The security guy said they won't allow me to go. Because if they should allow me to, it means that they must dispatch people to go with me.
To go with you.
All the way to Santin.
In fact, I remember even this year when I went to the AFCON, when we got to the border, we needed to go with security. Major competition like that, there are always security.
Welcome back, Ghana 4. It is that time of the morning. My name, you know it, Benjamin Akakwe, and I'm going to be sharing with you my blunt thoughts. And I've titled it this morning, Blood, Gold, and Greed, the shocking fall of the Black Star of Africa. Blood, gold, and greed, the shocking fall of the Black Star of Africa. I'm sure you've deduced by now that I'm playing on the national flag of Ghana. This title was culled from one of the Ghanaians who recently demonstrated at the Ghana High Commission in the UK with a placard reading Blood, Gold, Greed. You know we say red, gold, green, right? Blood, gold, greed. In place of the colors red, gold, that is amber, and green in a play of words. But this morning, I want us to seriously reflect on the menace that is this scourge that is destroying all of us. Now, I have a special message for those who have been tooting and shouting ignorantly on the rooftops. We don't do Galamsey in Accra. We don't do Galamsey in Accra. True, we don't do Galamsey in Accra. But solving the Galamsey menace starts from the political will, guess where? In Accra. We also don't grow yam, cassava, plantain, etc., predominantly in Accra. But the consequences of Galamsey are making all these products get contaminated at alarming levels with heavy metals, and they bring them to us from the rural areas. And get what? We are all eating them in Accra. This nonsense about Galamsey is not done in Accra should stop now. What disgusting tosh. Kidney disease and all kinds of cancers have gone through the roof in terms of numbers. And you're here telling me we don't do Galamsey in Accra. I'm sorry. Ghana's yam, which we've been exporting, is beginning to show significant concentrations of heavy metals. Your afase and your puna, those ones you are eating, they are showing traces of it. Ghana became a major yam exporter. What is that going to do to that market? What is it going to do to our economy? How about cassava, another major cash crop? It's only a matter of time. It makes it worse because the Chinese are now making gari. So we lose that small pet, you know what will happen. Now, on the latest Operation Halt, and I've heard some people touting, and I laughed. You're trying to catch wrongdoers, but you tell them ahead of time that you are coming on this day. You also let them know that you'll hang around waiting for them for about 2 weeks, after which you will leave. That's a pretty smart way of tackling the problem, right? I can assure you, if this is how government means to fight this thing, we shall achieve zilch, zero, nothing. How different is this approach from the previous ones? How? And if you think I am being unnecessarily skeptical, let me remind you of just one of the many past incidents where the military itself was deployed, got compromised, and rather ended up protecting Chinese illegal miners. I want you to watch this video.
A young military officer drove into the compound in a Tundra vehicle.
Yes, sir. Obi to say, I will see a lot of people. Obi to say,
He started making some calls to his superiors.
I will do the staff sergeant, sir. We are here at this thing, Tontokrom. The hot duties, and there are some policemen and media be here.
Within the next 30 minutes, the whole place was crawling with over 30 angry, armed military men. Anger turned into heated verbal exchanges and near fisticuffs. A group of physically built men with known faces from the Delta Force group also joined them. The Chinese were released. Our news team was prevented from filming anything from this time onwards as they overpowered the task force and took over.
Please stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing.
Things got physical as the macho men assaulted my driver, forcibly took the keys to our vehicle and struggled with a camera technician for the camera. Under the watch of the military men, they broke our windscreen and side mirrors. Owner of the site, Donald Ntua, ordered the military to delete all footages from our camera and our personal phones. But we managed to retrieve items from our formatted card. It took the intervention of the Ministry of Environment and the Military High Command to get us released. The Minister for Environment told our news team, quote, Heritage Imperial only has a prospecting license, and so...
Donald Ntua, we all know him. He's a stalwart in the MPP. Our people trying to expose the rot were taken into custody, and it took a call from the Military High Command before they were released. So if someone tells me, oh, the military is on site, I take it with a pinch of salt. We all know what has happened in the past. Only 59 mining leases were granted under the Mills Mahama administration. Under Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, over a whopping 1,500 plus have been granted in less than 8 years. The rot runs deep indeed. It's no surprise then that you hear statements like those from the Ghana Minerals Commission boss, Martin Aisi, that if mining licenses are not granted, people will do illegal mining. Such flimsy, mind-boggling excuses. But that brings me here as I quickly wrap. In fact, in 2016, the former Information Minister, Kojo Okonkroma, my good friend, but here, no friendship, no friends. He cited something from one newspaper article. It was a magazine, actually. I think the Economic Times, talking about the fact that in 2015 to 2016, the Ivorians had actually shut down 280 illegal mining sites. And he said in Galamsey, in Ghana, it is Galamsey galore. How about today, sir? Kojo, how about today? And our very own president, also in 2016, June the 7th, was talking about mismanagement, corruption, and incompetence is why Ghana is where she is today in 2016. You know, you can clean 2016 and put 2024 here, and this same rhetoric will be true, Mr. President. Next slide. The effects beyond our borders, Dr. Juliet Ohiming in Tiamwa, a US-based licensed professional engineer who has contacts in Ghana and has been looking into some of these things. She's worried because she's consuming yam from the African markets there. She says, yams and other food items being exported have been found to contain high levels of heavy metals. In the end, I enter in the end, they say, oh, so what do they trying? Next slide. And oh, my favorite one from nowadays, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister saying, I drink water every day, tap water every day. Even this morning, that is October the 9th, I drank water from the tap. You should be clapping for the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. One of these days, we should find him and, look for tap water and put them in bottles and ensure that he drinks that the whole day. Just like that MP who went somewhere and they fetched Galamsey water and asked him to drink it. Of course, he didn't drink it. Next slide. I love some of these protests and some of the placards they've been carrying. This one particularly. In the UK, when they had that demonstration, caution, showboy hazard, silence on issues may cause severe irritation. Mr. President, you've been ridiculously silent on some of these issues. Now, the water has boiled and it's overflowing. You now want to react? 1,000 on the Free Citizens protest, 1,000 policemen at protest, 0 policemen at Galamsey sites. True or not? And now this one, Ghana Water Limited, literally, yeah, very limited. And by the way, the polymers they are using are not taking away the heavy metals from your water. You should know that. So where we are headed is not one person's problem. It's not MPP problem. It's not NDC problem. It is our problem. So better wake up and let's resolve it. If we die, we may end up dying together. Next slide. Now, if you look at the licenses issued amidst these disputes, 13 small-scale mining licenses were issued just within a short period, recently. All in the Takwa district, expiring in 2029. Recently, 13. Even as we are talking about this, 13 of them have been given out. How do you explain this? But you can't explain it the same way you can't explain LI 2462 because it makes no sense. Next slide. Shall we go to the next slide? Now, mining license checks, 2,250 licenses issued. That is 1988 to 2025 because like you saw from the last slide, it goes into the next year. Some of them go into next year. But let's look at the breakdown. Active licenses, 2,202. Licenses pending, 1. Suspended licenses, 18. Under review, 29 of them. But here's the shocker. Next slide. If you look at the trajectory, which will get me to that next slide, the trend of mining license issuance, just look at it. I don't need to go through the figures for the sake of time. But look at the trajectory. Between 1 and 5, 7 and 5, all the way to 2015. Just about 1, 1, 4, 3, 13, 3, 1, 11. Look at those numbers. Rarely getting into double digits. But then from 2017, 11, 2018, 22. And since that time, look at it. 2019, a spike from 22 to 111. In 2020, 824. It fell to 62, 239, 267, 614. And that is where we are. Already in 2025, one has been granted. Already from 2025. We are not there yet. But we started granting licenses. Next slide. Then, if you look at the period analysis, 1988 to 2008, the total number granted, 40. Walk with me. 40. 2009 to 2016, 59. An increment of 19. Put these together, 99. So let's say 100. 2017 to 2025, 2,151. Even 100, no, we 100 no free her. It is more than this. 1988 to 2016. So when people sit in their comfortable corners and want to talk tosh and think we don't understand the issues, or we don't see or know what is happening, it's heartbreaking. But like I keep saying, by my final slide, though, I've noticed the trend. The Daily Graphic, among others, have also been talking about it. I've used the Tema motorway stretch in a while, especially when evening is setting. This is the Tema motorway stretch not too long ago. All these street lights are gone. So when you're using the stretch now, it's very dark. And for those of you who sometimes ply that route, you know how dangerous it is. People come from the bushes sometimes. I know so many people who have been attacked, robbed. You don't even have street lights in TBB. And before help comes. What is happening? Sector Minister, no street lights on large stretches of the Tema motorway. And we are sitting down. It takes me to say it. And when you say it, then they say, oh, one no bokiti. You can't see. This country, anyway, we can decide to do what we'll do with them, and if we like, we can throw them into the dustbin. It's our own problem. In the end, it will come back to bite all of us. My name is Benjamin Akapo. These are my blunt thoughts, served raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. Thank you for watching, and let's keep praying that God will make Ghana truly great and strong and give us leaders, not misleaders. Thank you for watching. This is the AM show. Welcome back. And we kickstart our conversations by telling you about one of those great schools in the country, especially in the Tema Enclave. I'm talking about DPS International. And thanks to them, we are having them in the studio this morning. We have Emmanuel Afo. He is head of the English department at DPS International. He's here to tell us more about this institution. Ima, good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
You're looking colorful.
Thank you. I'm learning from you.
So there are so many institutions in the country and everybody wants the best for their children, right? Yeah. So tell us about DPS International. First off, how long has this school been around?
So thank you very much, and it's a pleasure being here, my first time. So DPS was established in 2010 by Mr. and Mrs. Mukesh Takwani, and the sole purpose was to offer a cutting-edge educational training for students in Ghana, basically. So we've been around since 2010.
Since 2010?
Since 2010.
So it's 14 years
14
since then.
years.
And since that time, what has the school been up to in terms of academic achievements? What have you been up to?
Well, I dare say everything I say will be verifiable. In the annual British Council Awards, you've always had BDPSI. Either at the IGCSE level or the A level, we're always sweeping awards. And so there's information out there for people to verify. We are good on extracurricular activity, co-curricular activities, anything that has to contribute to the positive development of children. DPSI will be in the fray.
So just some 14 years now, and that's a long time to have sustained this. You are located in Tema Community 25.
25 years.
What are your options or availabilities when it comes to resident and non-resident students? Do you have a boarding system?
Yes, that's a beautiful question. Well, if your objective is to offer a cutting-edge educational program, location should not be a hindrance to anybody who wants to access that kind of education. So yes, we are in 25. The school has state-of-the-art hostel facilities. I could say you could actually confuse the hostel facilities for a university. I mean, just take a trip in the school. We do 2 in a room with bathroom and suite. Basically everything that you need to give you that comfort and relaxation for you to learn. For those students coming from all parts of, if you like, Ghana, specifically Accra, we have in excess of about 40 buses which fly every nook and cranny of Accra and Tema. We have students coming from Ebri. And that tells you that, that tells you that if you really want something great for your children, distance should not be a hindrance.
I see.
So there's those facilities over there.
Okay, so accommodation is not a problem.
Not a problem.
About how many people can that facility take, the boarding?
Well, in excess of about 150, 200.
Okay, that's quite a number.
Yeah, that's a number. Indeed, over 30 buses actually make our school strength based solely on day students rather than boarding. So the boarding facilities are usually meant for those who are not resident in Ghana.
Okay.
Specifically.
Right.
So we have students from Nigeria, United States, all parts of the world accessing the kind of education we have at DPS.
What other state-of-the-art facilities do you have beyond your accommodation facilities?
Well, our classroom setting is a mind-blowing, if you like, space for learning. Every classroom is fitted with a smart board, which is actually hooked onto the internet, which actually helps teachers to deliver. Beyond that, we are big on public speaking. We actually help children. Every student in DPSI is not a student you could describe as a microphone shy student. And so children as young as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years hold on to the microphone with confidence because it is something we have deliberately put in the way we educate our children. We have a sprawling field, all manner of games, from basketball to tennis, to table tennis, to swimming, to hockey. Every single game in the sporting world is done at DPS. And this makes us one of the preferred, if not most preferred in Ghana.
Today we are complaining about misleadership, misgovernance and all of that. But I know in your institution you take leadership and governance very seriously. How seriously do you take it? And how do you let the students imbibe such positive traits?
Well, to start with, if your objective is to train students, the first thing you want to aim at is to train them to take up the mantle once people who are leading their affairs have left. So one of the things we do is, I don't know whether you've ever heard about the model UN.
Yes.
Called the mini UN. It's hosted in the best ways at DPS. In fact, just about 2 weeks ago, we ended one session. It was fabulous. We had students from all over the country coming. So that's one way we actually, one thing we do to imbibe leadership. Again, we encourage students to take up leadership positions. As I said earlier, students actually lead assemblies. Students are actually led and trained to take up positions as to prefectorial board, decision-making, plethora of things. And another thing we do is to make sure we take part in every single competition that is credible. And DPS students actually excel over there and take up leadership positions in these things. Indeed, as a teacher of English, it has always been my joy anytime I have invitations from your sister station, Joy FM, to bring students to talk on issues of national interest, especially if it is student-centered. So we are big on that.
Right. To cap off the conversation, you are in Tema Community 25. Where specifically? And also give us how people can reach you, phone numbers, social media.
So yes, Community 25, just around the Thelma plant area. Phone numbers +233 596 994 579 +233 596 994 759 or +233 556 620 540. You can actually reach us on dpsghana.edu.gh. And I dare say DPS is a school to watch.
Great. Any final words?
Well, I guess.
And I think your final words, you can just speak to the parents out there, maybe the students themselves.
Hi, Ghana. I think this is a great opportunity for me to tell you about the school. As somebody who decided to be a teacher from 1994, I've had 30 straight years in the classroom.
You can look into this camera.
I've actually spent 30 straight years in the classroom as a teacher. I've not been anywhere from the days of my training college to the university to having in the classroom. And I can tell you for a fact that if you are looking for a school to make sure your children survive in this turbulent world, then DPS is the school. We have been deliberate, we have been intentional in the way we actually mentor our students, and the evidence is there for you to see. Choose DPSI and you'll never regret.
Well, Mr. Afful, we're grateful that you took the time to join us, and more power to your elbows at DPS International.
Thank you so much, and we're so much grateful to you for being a partner in this fight to save Ghana.
Thank you very much. That is Emmanuel Afful, Head of Department English at DPS International, Tema Community 25. If you want quality education, that's where you ought to take your children. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back on the AM show. We get into our big stories now. And first on the chopping board, peasant farmers have raised the alarm at the source of data to be used for the distribution of cash and equipment through the government's intervention program for the thousands of farmers affected by the latest dry spell. We'll hear from them as the government begins to carry through this support program. Joining the conversation, we have Wepa Adugwala. He is National President, Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. He's going to break down for us why they are adopting this position. Good morning, sir. Mr. Adugwala, if you can hear me.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you join the conversation.
Good morning.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Let's also bring in Anthony Morrison. He is with the Chamber of Agri-Business, and he has joined the conversation. Mr. Adugwala, I can hear you. I'd like to find out from you, why have you taken this position where you feel that the data being used for the distribution is not apt, it is not fit for purpose? Why?
Yeah, good morning once again. For us in the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, you know, when the drought happened in northern Ghana, of course, we have a lot of members in northern Ghana. So what we did was that we needed to contact our focal persons at the various districts. This is the situation because we have received calls from them that their farms were affected by the drought spell. So if this is the situation, then what are we supposed to do? So if you remember, we're the first to call on government to quickly look at the situation in the north to avert any food crisis. So after making that call, luckily government also announced through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, they announced certain interventions, even though we had challenges with some of them. But of course, I want to zero down on the recent intervention that government wants to start. We have always been on the neck of government. We thought there should have been a stakeholder engagement. The farmers, of course, will come on board, the various stakeholders like the farmers and other interest groups. So we sit together to provide data. Of course, government too can do their own work. But what we are critical about is that we want to be sure that peasant farmers who have been affected have been captured in the data. It's very, very important to us. We want to ensure that the peasant farmers have been captured in the data for any government intervention. As I speak to you, as I said yesterday, I was calling our members in the various regions, that is in Northeast region, in Upper West region, in Northern region, to ask them whether our members' names have been included. They made contacts with the district directors of agriculture, and they couldn't provide any data. In fact, some of the directors are saying that it's now that they are compiling the data. They are compiling information.
So hold for me.
As to
hold for me. You are saying that the district directors of Agri are saying they don't have the data. They are now compiling it as of now.
Exactly. Some of them say it's now that they are compiling the data. Because we ask our focal persons at the district level to get the data to ensure that our members are on the list. So as I speak to you now, it's now that some of the district directors of agriculture are now compiling data as to which farmer is affected. It's not only the data, they have to also map your farm. So if we have already started the distribution, in fact, and when I even called, we made contacts on the ground. Some of them have been calling me. They said they have not seen any distribution in their area. But government says we are starting on 10th. But is the distribution not going to be... we are starting on 10th.
Is the distribution not going to be gradual? They will not do all the farms and districts at once, will they?
Well, that is what we expect to hear from government, because as we speak, we don't know where the distribution is taking place. We don't know where the distribution is currently taking place as we speak.
Let me ask you this. So are you saying that of the peasant farmers, I don't know what your number is, you can let me know what your number is, but are you saying that none of your farmers has got some of these supplies, the equipment and other support? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, as we speak, government, the areas that we have our members, government is yet to start the distribution there. And all what we were doing was to make sure that our members are on the list. Those who have been affected are on the list. As we speak, we don't know where the distribution has started. We don't know. We are yet to come to terms with that, because where our members are located in the various districts, what they are telling us is that the distribution is yet to.
Can you hear me? I would like to find out how many of your members have been affected before we get, how many of your members were affected?
Yes, so as we speak, if you look at the northeast region, and then you look at the upper west region,
I think somehow we
have been affected.
How many?
Hello?
Yes, how many have been affected?
Yes, we have not less than 2,000 of our members who have been affected, not less than 2,000, because as of yesterday, some were still reporting to our regional people. So those who have been affected per our day, in fact, they are more than that, but those that are in our known are not less than 2,000. But our members are still reporting that some are coming to indicate that this is the situation on the ground. But what we are saying is that all what we needed to know is that when you go to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture at the district level, they are able to provide the data. This is the data of affected farmers. Then we know, are our members included, or are they captured the right data? But if the district directors of agriculture cannot provide that data, in some cases, some are even saying that it's now that they are compiling the data.
Okay.
So how do you do the distribution at the same time, the district directors compiling the data at the same time?
Okay.
So we are seeing these two not to be a match, because the data should have been compiled, stakeholders validate the data, then the distribution begins. You are starting the distribution and the data is not available.
Mr. Adugwala, let me interject. Let me bring in the Agric Minister, Dr. Braimah Champong. He's been speaking to the issues. Yeah. I want you to listen to what he says and find out whether that gives you some answers to the questions you have. Let's listen to Dr. Braimah Champong.
Look on the screen there. I have 839,000 farmers across the country that I'm tracking their activities. Every one of the 830,000 farmers, and every day the number keeps going up. Today alone, we've registered more than 20,000 farmers, just today.
Those who are signing up to get the package that you're offering to them?
And, well, we are registering farmers in this country so that we are able to track their activities. When they do land development, when they plant the seed, what type of seed they plant, the yield of the seed, what type of fertilizer they apply, when they apply it, the expected yield of the farm, when the harvest is going to be, when the product is coming on the market, the cost of the farmer's input, and the expected farm gate price of the product, and then the market price of the product. We are tracking all that, and I'm saying that I am, as we speak, 839,000 farmers are registered, and I'm sitting here, I'm able to know what each one of them is doing, and therefore I am able to track what quantity of maize is going to come on the market, what the price is going to be, and if it is going to be south, I know how to prop it up. That is what we're doing. Intelligent food systems planning. It's not just something that we're just pulling out of a Houdini and saying that we don't know. We know what we are talking about. We've planned it so, and that's exactly what is going to deliver. We need to get our food systems back on track to help the farmers in the north get back into production very, very quickly. And what you do is that because they've lost their crop, a majority of them, they've lost their open pollinated seeds, we give them seeds and fertilizers immediately. And to be able to get the south to produce quite a good quantity of maize so that we can meet our 2.5 million metric tons or 2.4 million metric tons of maize that we require per annum, we have to also give significant quantity of inputs to farmers in the south. And so today, on the 8th, yesterday, we started moving fertilizers from our warehouses to the regional distribution centers to be given to farmers. So that has started. We also promised farmers that we will give them food. And these are farmers in the 8 regions, the transition and then the transition zones and the savannah zone. That too, we have about currently 34,000 metric tons of rice from our warehouses that are moving to the regions. And then we have a lot of drip tipper trucks that are going to take it from the regional distribution centers to the districts for onward distribution to the farmers. So that is really the only way you can be a beneficiary is if you are a farmer and your farm is registered.
Are they registering?
Absolutely. I mean, this is a farmer's details. You can check on the screen. The farmers are registering. We have 3,000 boots on the ground, ensuring that every single farmer that is affected is captured on the system. There's no other way.
Mr. Adugwala, did you get answers to your questions?
Yeah.
He says they are looking at 830,000 farmers and counting every day, and that as far as this program is concerned, you must be a farmer and your farm must be registered, among other processes. Have you got your answers, and have your farmers complied with these, requirements?
Yes, thank you very much. The registration the Honorable Minister is talking about is where we have a challenge. If you go to the ground, many of the districts, the extension officers are not enough. This registration started for the planting and food and jobs phase 2. That was when the registration was launched.
Hello, Mr. Adugwala.
And even after that, they are supposed to go to their farms to go and map the farms. Some of the tablets had a lot of challenges. And most of the districts you go, you look at the ratio of extension officer to the number of farmers was not encouraging. You can have about 5 extension officers with over 100,000 farmers. So as he speaks, you can just send your reporters down to some of the districts. A number of farmers have not been able to register because the extension officer ratio to the farmer is not encouraging. Number 2, the tablets have been faulty. Some of the apps are not working. Onto the platform where they'll register you, the map. That even delays in a way.
I keep losing you, Mr. Adugwala. I don't know what is happening.
Yes. Yes. So as I speak to you, the minister is speaking to a data maybe from the central level. But we are also looking at the district. If you go to the district level, you realize that a number of farmers are yet to be registered. From what he's saying, this registration started since the beginning of the year. As we speak, government has concluded. And I will just tell you, I was speaking to some of my farmers at the district, even where we are in Western region. This registration was even for the entire nation. Many farmers have not been captured on the database. Like I said, the issues has to do with the faulty tablets, the apps, extension officers having access to logistics because they have to move to your farm ongoing. But many farmers have not been captured. That is the issue that we are talking about. Many farmers have not been captured. That is why, as government is saying that they are starting the distribution, a number of district directors in the northern part and the areas which have been affected are still doing registration. You can just place a call to some of the directors. They will tell you, we are yet picking data. So it means the process is very slow as we speak because of a number of challenges. We expect them to speed up. Of course, it's a good thing. We buy into building a comprehensive data so that when you have the names of the farmer, you are able to map their farms. Then with the intervention gets to the right people. We don't have a problem with that. We support it. However, the process is very slow, limited tablets for registration, problems with the app, limited extension officers to be able to cover the number of farmers that they are supposed to cover. And that is what we are talking about. So as we speak, registration is still ongoing. So our main issue was, once you said you have announced the distribution, as we speak, where is the distribution taking place? We don't know. They are yet to tell us exactly. We are in this region. We are.
Is it not taking place at the districts? My final bit to you. Is it not, Mr. Dugwala, is it not taking place at the districts?
As far as we are aware, our farmers are still reporting to us, the regional focal persons in Northeast, in Upper West region, in OT region, that they are yet to see any distribution on the ground. Okay. And so our concern is that we don't want any farmer to be left out. Okay. We don't want any farmer to be left out. So we raise the alarm because a number of farmers have not been captured in the data, and government announced that distribution has started. And if you are not careful, and distribution has already started, and farmers are now struggling to get their names onto the database, they may be left out. That is our major source of concern. Okay. And like we said, we have not been able to validate this data because we also believe we are stakeholders in agriculture. These are the number of farmers who have been registered as regional focal persons, president of the Peasant Farmers Association, regional focal persons of the peasant. You should be able to go to district director of agri and say, oh, we want to see the data of the number of farmers who have been registered for this intervention. Okay. And that should be made available. All right. But you go and the district director say the data is not available with them. They are now compiling and
Mr. Dugwala, I think that point has been made. Let me bring in Farmer Morrison, and maybe I'll give you some 20 seconds each to wrap up. But I'll come to Farmer Morrison. He is with the Chamber of Agribusiness. What do you see, succinctly, briefly, on as far as this situation is concerned? Where do you stand? Do you think enough is being done by the ministry?
Good morning, Benjamin. And very good morning to the cherished viewers. So the chamber took almost 27 days tour in the 6 northern regions. We got back last week. We verified issues on the ground ourselves. We were in Alugu, Walewale, Sabelugu, all across. We went to the Sisala East, Sisala West, and we had first-hand experience on the situation on the ground. I must say that it's quite sad.
Hello? Can you hear me, Anthony? All right, so it appears we can't hear much from Anthony Morrison. There's a bit of a problem with the connection. But he was saying that there were challenges and, of course, there were issues to deal with. Let's see whether we can just get him back on the line to conclude with his thoughts. Farmer Morrison, can you hear me? Anthony Morrison. Okay, so Mr. Dugwala, let me take your final thoughts on this matter. Yeah. So what is your call now? What are you hoping will be the next move from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture?
Yes, so my call at the moment is for the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to ensure that all the farmers have been captured on the database. No farmer who has been affected is left behind. It's very, very important to us. And we also even have a concern about government announcing the financial package. You know, as part of the package, government was talking about giving loans to farmers. We thought once again, no stakeholder engagement has been done. If you are giving loans to farmers, the people you are giving the loans to, we need to have a meeting. What are the requirements that the farmers need? Because this is a loan that you said you want to give to support the farmers. And the people on the ground are not even aware that this is what is happening. So if an announcement is made, we want to give loans to farmers, and the farmers on the ground, we don't even know that the government is bringing us loans, what are the requirements, and when are we expected to pay back? We also have a problem with that. We want things to be done right. And you know, all these issues that are coming is as a result of lack of engagement with the stakeholders on the ground. So we think that we need to strengthen our stakeholder engagement to be able to ensure that some of these things come to bear. Because for us, we always want to validate whatever is happening on the ground because it affects our babies directly.
All right, Mr. Dugwala, point made. Thank you very much. Let's try Anthony Morrison one more time. Mr. Dugwala, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you for making those succinct points. Mr. Morrison, Anthony Morrison, if you can hear me, please go ahead with the point you were making.
Okay, so in total, we met over 7. network is the district with all the 6 statistics officers. I think that the issues are quite very clear on the ground. We looked at how the MOFAMIS, so Ministry of Food and Agriculture have the MOFAMIS, which is the MOFA Management Information System, and also the GAP.
Well, unfortunately, Anthony Morrison, I don't think we can continue with the conversation. The connection is not helping us with this. But that has been the case. The Peasant Farmers Association saying that, listen, this thing is not being done right, and we need support. We need the right things to be done so that even the extension officers in the districts can reach out to us. We don't know what this list is, whose name is on it, which farmer's name is on it, but they are saying that the Agric Ministry must ensure that every farmer who has been affected, especially in the northern belt of the country, gets support. Well, that's how we cap off this belt of the conversation. There's still a lot more to come. We'll be engaging the boss of the technical and vocational education training in Ghana on their latest initiatives. We'll also be conferring with one of those of Democracy Hub who was incarcerated, placed in police custody in recent times. We'll be finding out what her experience was and what she has to share with us on the AM show. We'll be back. Welcome back on the AM show. Ghana is set to host the Africa Skills Week. And the question is, what does this mean for Ghana and skills development? We'll be telling you about that as we host the Director General of the Commission for Technical Vocational Education Training in Ghana, Dr. Fred Che Asamoah. He is the Director General, and he joins me in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin.
It's good having you. It's been how many months now?
I think about four or 5 months, I think.
So here's where I'm going to start from. I know that every time you come on the show, you give us a briefing of what you've been up to. I'd like to find out from the TVET perspective, what has Ghana been able to attain within the last few months? What have you been up to? What are the updates you want to give us?
Okay. So, thank you very much. We're continuing with major programs. For instance, we completed exams for almost 50,000 TVET learners at the second cycle level. And this 50,000? Yeah, just for 1 year, almost 50,000 compared to previously, prior to 2017, the entire 3 years was about 50,000. So to organize exams for them, and I believe the media did not hear much about, because we have instituted what we call serialization and randomization. So the learners going to TVET exams, assessment, we have various options, and within the same classroom we have about 6 different versions of the same exam. So we are going through the review, and we hope that the exams will be released soon. And we are continuing with the upgrading of our TVET institutions. As I'm talking to you, some technical universities are receiving equipment. Same applies to some technical institutes. We are working to complete the new TVET centers that we have in Akumadan and Sinjakai. You know, we have this district TVET centers of excellence. We had 4 that we had started with, 1 in Nanyinem, 1 in Pechi number 2, and we have the other 2 in Sinjakai in Central region and Akumadan in the Ashanti region. So we are working to finalize it, and we are also working to complete work on the TVET policy that will be looking beyond the next 20 years, and also a TVET strategy plan that will also be looking 2025 for another 5 years. So these are the things that we've got ourselves busy and engaged with. And of course, we are also working to add more sector skill bodies, because we realized that in the past it has always been like the academia and the public sector or government focusing on TVET. We are working on to bring in the industry to be at the center of it. So recently, we just even inaugurated one that is taking care of the media. So the media will be at the center of our TVET training as far as media work is concerned. So largely, we have our hands full, and I think it's good.
That's a lot of activity you've been up to within this short period. But then let's get into the Africa Skills Week and look at the collaboration, AU, Ghana, and the fact that it's happening in Accra, I mean, between the 14th and the 18th. How come we were selected? What exactly happened for us to be selected?
I think that is where we all have to be excited about what we have done in Ghana as far as TVET is concerned, because African Union wouldn't have considered Ghana if we aren't doing anything good about TVET transformation agenda. If we look at, I was talking about the enrollment numbers that has tripled prior to 2017. We're looking at the upgrading of our TVET institutions. We are looking at the new legal environment that have realigned TVET in the country. We're looking at the investment that is going into the various institutions. And we're looking at, even most importantly, having to bring industry into TVET. It's going to be a very tough task, but I think it's doable. It is possible.
That is bringing private enterprise
yes, it is possible.
into TVET.
Definitely, because we haven't had this practice in a long time. Every businessman is thinking about the bottom line. Why should they be involved in training? Why should they be contributing to training? But if you look at all the advanced countries, and I always go back to Germany because we have spent a lot of time going back and forth in Germany. I've spent a good amount of my time since I've been in TVET to go to Germany. And you realize that anytime you engage a private person in Germany, they tell you that they found some kind of happiness in training the next employee, whether for themselves or for another company. And they even get to pay them. And it's not like government is giving them a tax rebate. It's a chicken and egg situation, and we cannot liken their system directly to ours. But we need to bring in the industry on board, getting them to appreciate and understand that whatever we are doing as government is for them. Because a government creates the enabling environment for industry to be successful. And one of the things that is very silent, but is a very significant, it has a very significant role in the success of every organization, is the skilled labor that one wants. And I was just reading a report that is between the African Union Commission and the OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. And it's talking about Africa's skills in jobs and development dynamics. And it's what we are doing in Ghana is not different from what the OECD has recommended in collaboration with the African Union. So no wonder that the African Union has looked at all these things, so they agreed that Ghana should be chosen as the first country to host this Africa Skills Week. You know, the working population...
So this is the first time it's
There's a maiden one that African Union is organizing, because this year is the year of education, and African Union wants to focus on how do we ensure that our member states do develop the skills that we need. You know, the working age in Africa is between the ages of 15 and 64. And per the OECD, the return on investment in training people in Africa is higher than compared to Latin America.
We have a much more youthful population as well.
And also, if somebody should add just a year of learning or skill training onto their learning or skills, it increases their income by 10% plus. So it's higher compared to other continents. So African Union and Ghana believes that the 15 to 64 years of our age is tend to, in the next 25 years, we believe that it's going to double. That number is going to double. So not that currently we still have the largest youthful population, but the next 25
by
years,
2050
it's going to double. So that it means Africa, our best bet is to improve on skill development.
So that is a clear point. But in terms of putting this together and in terms of even Ghana being selected, what has been the role of the Ministry of Education and the CTVET in all of this?
So this is an agreement, this Africa Skills Week, the maiden one, is an agreement between the government of Ghana and African Union, and is being done on behalf of government of Ghana by the Ministry of Education. So the agreement has been signed by the Ministry of Education on behalf of government of Ghana.
Right.
Yeah, but the Commission for TVET is the one that is doing the do to support the Ministry of Education.
So you are doing the groundwork?
Yeah, we are doing the operations and coordinating it on behalf of the Ministry of Education. But the Ministry of Education, being led by the Minister of Education, Dr. Yao Sedichum, is the one that is leading this and signing the agreement on behalf of government of Ghana.
And in terms of key stakeholders, so Ministry of Education, CTVET.
Then we have the TVET service also supporting, and we have Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, DTEC, also supporting. Then we have our development partners like the GIZ, UNESCO is supporting. We have ILO supporting, and we have TTEL supporting. So we have a wide range of stakeholders. We have the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In fact, I must appreciate the engagement and the role that is being played by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They've been there from day one, working with the local organizing committee, because we're expecting over 400 delegates from outside Ghana to come in. So Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we have the national security being part of it. We have the state protocol being part of it. We have the Ghana Police being part of it, and we have Immigration Service being part of it. And in the last couple of meetings, we also have the ambulance service also being part of it. So this is a national program, and we have all the major stakeholders being part of it. And I'm excited the way when we work together as a team in Ghana, how much we're able to pull together in the shortest possible time. I'm grateful that I'm a member of this committee. I'm happy to be a Ghanaian, because this is going to go down history, that Ghana is the first country to host Africa Skills Week, and other ones will be continuing. And I believe that the next time it comes back to Ghana again, we would have made a huge jump as far as our TVET.
The impact would have been a lot.
Training is concerned.
Who can participate in this event? And at the event proper, who are the major, invited guests who are going to be there?
So, like I said earlier, we have 400 delegates coming out of country to Ghana, which is made up of the African Union Commission. We have the various development partners at the African level. We have member states coming in. We have ministers of education coming in. We have
from all over Africa.
Yeah, no, we have about 6 ministers of education. Because this is the maiden one, and you see, it has a lot of challenges. And for Ghana to be given this challenge and we taking up the challenge is something that is commendable. We have other heads of agencies for various countries. We have chief directors in various countries coming in for this event. We have completed the local registration because we are limiting the numbers. This is a highly policy-oriented skills week, and African Union will want all other member states to commemorate this week within their various countries, but the major and the main event is happening in Accra, in Ghana. And we believe that at the end of the week, we're going to have major decisions taken. We'll be looking at the Africa TVET strategy and how it aligns with the OECD report, which will focus on nothing but skills and jobs. Our problem in Africa is not resources. Because if it comes to natural resources, we have it. If it comes to the human resources, we have it. But the skilled human resource is what we are lacking. And if we can skill our people, to the level that can respond to the new trends and the new industrial revolution, the new one that we are expecting. The fourth industrial revolution is already ending. Already some countries have moved into the fifth industrial revolution, and we cannot keep on lacking behind. We have to leapfrog. And to do that, we have to take some drastic decisions, and some of the things will include making sure that industry sits at the center of TVET, making sure that there's enough investment into TVET, and making sure that a good number, a larger number of the population or the citizenry is given skills that can respond to the current needs of the economy. And that is, so if we are looking at agric alone can create a huge amount of jobs. And you have a lot of people in agric, but how skilled are they? And we need to make sure we make it sexy, starting from the early levels, making sure that people appreciate skill training. Because hate it or like them, the Western world have more people in skills training and making sure they have soft skills in addition. So they're able to adjust with whatever changes that come around. So that's what they are doing. We in Africa cannot do different and think that we can just keep writing and memorizing and we can, no, it's not possible.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, so we have to focus on making sure that people are skilled, both hard and soft skills is given to people.
Making agric sexy, you remind me of Mo Ibrahim back then. He started talking about making agric sexy, the Sudanese British businessman, the billionaire. So it was interesting to hear you say that because we need more young people in that. But in terms of this week-long event, what are your objectives? What are the outcomes that you are expecting at the end of the week-long event that we can hold on to as Africa, yes, but as Ghana and say this is the next step and this is where we mean to go?
Yeah, the first objective is to create more awareness about the significance of skill going with jobs and to make sure that we can have more people focusing on skill training. We can create more awareness among the private sector. Then the next objective is to come out with a policy document that will either affirm our TVET policy that we've worked on, the draft, or some lessons learned that we can use to improve on the TVET policy. It's in a draft state and we are working to finalize it. So we believe that Ghana should have some lessons learned, tapping into all this knowledge that is coming from across the continent and across the world as well, because we will have participation from people from Europe, the Pacific Asia, and other countries coming in. So we want to make sure that there should be a policy document that we can also learn from or update our notes.
It must be knowledge sharing, right?
Yes.
It must be symbiotic.
Yeah, because it's going to be more of technical discussions that will dive deep into the real issues, not just a fanfare.
Let me just ask you this. Usually when we talk about policy and then technical discussions, like you say, I was just at an event, the West Africa Civil Society Institute, and the UN representative, coordinator in Ghana, Charles Abani, was speaking. A number of them spoke. We have the finest policies. Emil Short was there. Fine policies. The devil is always in the implementation. So we do this, we have all of these great events, but what we've taken, that's the issue many people are.
And I think that is where Ghana is a good example as far as TVET is concerned. Because if you look at the TVET strategy plan that we put in place, we've moved to implement every bit of it. Because I don't believe in putting things on paper without implementing it. We talked about realigning of TVET institutions to the Ministry of Education. That has been done. We talked about having a major act to guide the regulation of TVET. That has been done, Act 1023. We talked about having an act to make sure we have a pre-tertiary delivery agency. Act 1049, TVET service has been set up. Commission for TVET has been set up. We talk about sector skill bodies. As I'm talking to you, we have over 16 sector skill bodies that have been set up, and they are supporting the implementation of curriculum development in TVET. For the first time, we printed over 1 million textbooks to support TVET institutions. That was developed with the contribution from the private sector. We talked about investing in TVET institutions and improving infrastructure. All that have been done. So every little thing that we talked about in the strategy has been implemented. So it's good. Ghana, where we are moving towards, it's good that the things that we put on paper, we implement it. That's why I'm happy. Let me go on this tangent. His Excellency Bawumia is talking about 1 million digital skills. These are not things that is just going to be on paper. As I'm talking to you, implementation is being done and the structures are being put in place. If you go to my constituency in Offenso North, now we have telephonic structures being expanded so that if you are talking about digital skill training, not only those in Accra are going to be benefiting, those in the interlands are also going to have the infrastructure in place to benefit. So for me, where we are looking, where we are sitting at, is not going to be just a talk, but it's going to be implementation of the talk. Okay. And that is what I'm excited about.
Let me ask you, over the last 7 years, you've been up to quite a number of things. You talk about the 50,000 that you have been adding on practically every year in recent times, compared to maybe the years before. Do you think we can sustain this drive? What will it take to sustain it, regardless of whether Dr. Fred Teyasamwa is there or someone else is there? How do we sustain it? Because that's one of our key problems in Ghana. If one person moves, one person is achieving and moves, next person comes and sometimes the system grinds to a halt. How do we achieve that?
For me personally, if you move from a place and the place collapses, that means you are not doing a good job. Okay, you should have structures in place to be able to ensure sustainability and accountability. So that is one. Then two, we've already started working on a TVET policy that will be looking beyond the next 20 years. So it's no more about any individual, it's about a system. And that is what this government, the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia government have been trying to do. Most of the places did not have systems in place. And when you put systems in place, the systems are going to check the individuals and the human beings. So nobody or no one person can come in and say that I want to rewind the whole thing. Let's take, for instance, the Ghana card. Now, yesterday I wanted to update my phones. I had to go back to the house, go and grab my Ghana card and come back. So now it's no more about me as a person that I can sit in my office and send somebody to go and just change my phone. You have to be there in person.
Right.
So when you have systems in place and you have policies that are accountable, then of course it doesn't matter who is there. Now we have Act 1023, we have Act 1049. You can't change it as a person. Even if you want to change, you can update and upgrade it, but you cannot come in and change it and collapse it because
So the systems are in place,
the
and
systems
we
are
can
in
look to
place.
more from the TVET.
Exactly. So the TVET policy, we are expecting that by close of year, it will be finalized. The TVET strategic plan, which is the short-term plan, we are expecting that it to be finalized. We are working on to make sure that there's a sustainable funding. I'm happy that His Excellency Bawumia has put as part of his manifesto to make sure we have a fund that will be dedicated, the skill development fund that will be focusing on skill training, because that is the way we have to go, and a skill cast across. Then, of course, the involvement of sector skill bodies. And I'm also happy that sector skill bodies have been included in the manifesto of His Excellency Bawumia to make sure that industry sits at the center of skill training. Ben, nobody can better support training in the media than you can. Probably I might have gone to a media school to acquire a PhD or a master's degree in media, but the kind of experience you have here, if you bring on board and you spend a day or two, or you have learners coming to your place and spend a day or two, they will be a better trained, skilled people than just focusing on just academic work. It could be in digital skills, it could be in agriculture, it could be in the health sector, it could be in the construction sector, whatever sector. The industry people are the best people to support training. Go to China, go to India, go to the Americas, go to Europe. Those that are supporting training and always turning around quick is the industry. Innovation is always coming from the industry, and they have a short turnaround time. So we in Ghana can do different. We have to have industry. No matter how bad or good our industry is, they need to be sitting at the center of our skill training. And that is something that is being enforced in the law, and the next MPP government is also excited that they've stated it categorically, the role that will be played by industry as far as...
To cap off the conversation, I'd like you to do two brief things for me, your final words. What then can we expect? You've already elaborated on some of that as the next phase, the next level, the future of TVET in Ghana. And tell us a bit more about the Africa Skills Week. Those two final bits to cap off the conversation.
So the entire week, starting from the 14th of October to the 18th of October, has various activities that have been lined out. Day one is going to be a study tour of our TVET system by the external people that will be coming into the country. We have about 200 people that have already signed up to visit our TVET institutions. Then that same day, on the Monday, the 14th, at the Palms, which is situated or located at the La Palm Beach Hotel in Accra, we'll be having a youth summit where the youth will also be engaging and having a discussion. The second day, which is the 15th of October, is a Tuesday, we're going to have the official opening by His Excellency or his representative. Then we'll have major ministerial discussions and other side discussions that will be ensuing. Then it will be followed through with various plenary discussions. We'll have breakout sessions that will go on for the entire week until Friday, where we'll close and have a communique. So it's a fully packed week, and we already have the African Union advanced team in Ghana that are working with us to make sure we can cross out all the T's and dot all the I's.
All right. Doc, Thank you so much for the work you're doing. Thanks for coming through. And we'll see. We'll try and pass through the Africa Skills Week and see what is happening there.
Thank you very much. And I'm excited. I think this document by the OECD on the dynamic nature of skill development and jobs for Africa needs to be looked at and misread, because this document, as we sit here, is true today, and the next 20 years is going to be true. But we, like you said, making sure that we are keeping to our words and we are putting them in action.
It's definitely one that maybe some other time we can delve into properly and find out what we can glean from there. And that is the Director General of the CTVET, the Commission on TVET, that is Dr. Fred Che Asamoah, joining us on the AM show. Now stay with us. Up next, we'll be bringing you another very interesting conversation, one of those from the Democracy Hub, and what her ordeal was. She'll be sharing that with us right here on the AM show. Do stay. We'll be back. Welcome back. Now, on the last leg of the show, I'm going to be interacting with a member of Democracy Hub, one of the demonstrators who said, well, enough is enough. Stop Galamsey. She is going to share her experience with us. She's in the person of Felicity Nelson. She's a social justice activist. Felicity, good morning.
Benjamin.
You're looking dapper in your outfit.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's talk about what happened on the day. Joining the demonstrators and everything else. Just give us a sequence of events, briefly.
Well, okay, I guess I'll probably want to start from when I was arrested.
Okay.
Like that moment. So in the morning on Sunday.
And this was day one of the demonstration?
No, I'm talking about day two.
Day two of the demonstration.
Day two of the demonstration. So I know in the morning I was home and I saw that there had been a few arrests at the demonstration site. There had been that whole incident with the van, the police van, and when the police van tried to actually, that van actually had all the supplies, so the water, the placards for the demonstrators. All the supplies were in the van, and then the police were trying to tow the van away. So when they were trying to tow it away, some of the demonstrators were trying to stop that from happening. So they were actually in front, and then the police towing car was actually going to run some of the people over. So because they were stopping it, they wouldn't like actually remove the people first and then try and tow the car away.
In the car,
yes,
were attempting to run some of you over.
Yes.
With a police vehicle.
Yes,
with a truck or what?
With the towing van.
Okay. With the towing van.
Yeah. So that's when, but this is all I remember. I wasn't there. So these are just from videos I saw at home. Okay. And then I saw that there was that video of Oliver taking the key out, and I saw some arrests, and I saw the little girl in the bus who had been taken in the bus in the City FM. I think it was City FM. They were asking the 8-year-old child. So I was like, oh my God. So that's when I actually said, no, I need to leave home and actually go and find out what's happening, because I felt, as someone who's been, part of this like Democracy Hub, Fix the Country journey, I just felt like a responsibility seeing, and a lot of the times when people are arrested and people who, let's say, are less privileged to get arrested, sometimes the police can be quite brutal with them. So I just felt like, no, I need to be there just to kind of make sure everything's fine. So I got there around 1-ish, 2-ish, and then we were kind of waiting around. So probably by then, it was probably about 10, 15 of us. So myself, I'm a governor, a friend of mine, and just a few other people. So we're standing like off the road, on the side of the road, and we're just kind of waiting, because by then, but this was so we're just kind of waiting around till about 3. And then the police had issued a statement saying they were doing a manhunt for Oliver, which I found quite interesting, because, it went from nothing to manhunt. Not like, oh, you're wanted, you need to report at a police station. It went to manhunt. And then so we're still kind of waiting around, not really sure what to do, but we're still like, okay, still end Galamsey now. So I was actually doing a live at the time to kind of say to people, I was doing a Facebook live, to say to people, look, this is what's happening, we're here. Look around, the police are over there, be encouraged, you can come, it's safe, blah, 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 which is quite funny now. And then as I was doing the Facebook Live, I saw the police approaching, But remember, I'm on the side, I'm not on the road. I'm like next to a wall on the opposite side, away from the hospital. So I'm just thinking, okay, the police are approaching me, no problem. So honestly, in my head, I'm thinking they're probably going to come and say, you guys need to leave. Worst case scenario.
But then you got arrested.
Yes, then they arrested me and everybody else, people who had nothing to do with it. There was a man, who was next to me buying coconut. He was taken along. A trotro mate was carried along, who was an Okada rider, who was like picking up customers, was taken as well. So they just came and just swooped. It was just a general swoop of people. So again, they bring us together and I'm thinking, they're just probably going to say, okay, you guys need to go home. Next minute, they put us in. So as they take me, I was holding my phone. So they actually wrestled my phone out of my hands. And we walked towards this bus. And they actually tried to, they were pushing me. They were very aggressively pushing me. I said, you don't need to push me. You've told me I should walk. I'm walking. And then they actually hit Amma. One of them hit Amma on the back. So this is Elom, on the back of her neck. So she's like, why are you hitting me? I'm a
governor.
Yes, I'm a governor I'm talking about. We walked to they kind of sit us all down in a circle. And then I'm like, what's going on here? So they're like, where are your phones? Taking everybody's phones. And then the guy whose wife was on admission at the hospital was like, I'm not part of this demonstration. Can two of the policemen come into the hospital with me and confirm that I'm not a protester? My wife is on admission. She's just had a baby. And I was just there buying coconut. Can someone come with me? Hey, shut up. And they bundled us all into the police van. So this is a man that his wife had just given birth. He's come trying to find money to finish paying off her bills that had been incurred at the hospital. And he was also...
So all of you were bundled
Yes,
into
there was about...
this.
So when they took us, there was 18 of us.
18 of you. Where were you taken? For the sake of time, we have to accelerate. Where were you taken and what charges were leveled against
you? So they took us to the police, the headquarters, not the one in the central, the main regional headquarters. And then at this point, they've never said you're under arrest. They've not said anything. Just, what's your name? I'm like, am I under arrest? If you don't know that you're under arrest by now, you should come to the realization.
That's what the police told you?
Yes. Nothing about, they hadn't said anything about.
No telling you about your rights or anything?
Absolutely nothing. And this applied to every single person. They did not.
At least those you know?
I was there.
I mean, at least those in that number?
Yes, yeah. Right. And then I get to the police, they take me to Railways police station, and they say, okay, well, then they said, you're here, what's your name? And I said, why am I here? What's the reason? Am I under arrest? Why am I here? Then I said, you need to give me a phone call. So it's only at the Railways police station I got to make a phone call to inform my family that I've been arrested so they can inform my lawyers and stuff like that. So then an investigator comes around, you need to write a statement. I said, well, I'm not writing a statement without my lawyer being present. It was on that statement I actually realized, and it said on the statement that under arrest for illegal assembly. So that was what the investigator had written on his sheet. And he said, well, you can write that you're not writing a statement because your lawyer's not here. I said, no, I'm not writing a statement. And then they just put me in the cell. And then he came back about 10 minutes later, wanting to take a picture of me in handcuffs. So he came out, here, take a picture. So then in the picture, I'm like, in the handcuffs, I smiled, and he got angry. No, you can't smile, close your mouth. And I said, you can't tell me, you want to take a picture of me. First, I don't even want to take this picture. But if you want to insist on taking the picture, you can't tell me how I need to look in the picture. Is that the
famous picture we've seen?
No.
That's a different one.
That's a different one. So this one, I guess it didn't work for the purposes in which they wanted to take the picture for, so it never, made it into the public light.
So let's cut to the chase. You were taken there, the Railways police station. Yeah. From there, where were you taken? Eventually, you ended up at the cantonment
So I was at
police station.
Railway police station for 2 days. I was meant to go to court on the Tuesday. When they did the list for the court, somehow my name was not part of the list. So actually, before I was produced in front of a judge on the Wednesday. So it exceeded the 48-hour. You know how you're meant to detain someone for 48 hours proof? Yes. So then on that day, because they couldn't find me on the list, somehow I wasn't on the list, they just said, take her to Bachuna. So I ended up at Bachuna police station for another night. The next day I went to court, and then we were remanded until the 8th. That's when I ended up at cantonment. So that's the journey.
How long was it that you were in police custody?
17 days.
17 days?
Yes.
2 weeks and 3 days?
Yes.
There were calls to grant you bail. I heard some people, I believe I interviewed Nana Komia, CEO of STC, and he made mention of the fact that some of you hadn't shown remorse and all of that. When people were calling for you to be released, among others. How do you react to that?
Well, this idea, what am I showing remorse for? Like, on my charges, they have stuff like assaulting a police officer. I have not assaulted any police officer. Destroying party paraphernalia. I wasn't even there when the party paraphernalia, I saw that stuff online. So when you say they're not showing remorse, this idea that someone who's protesting to end something as important as Galamsey, and you want people to be massaging your egos. I don't exist to massage egos. I will not massage the egos of anybody to make them feel good, because I know that what I'm standing for is the right thing. I am proud of myself. I am happy to lose my liberty for the sake of Ghana. If it has to be because of Galamsey, I'm not going to sit back and allow people to silence me. I will not be silenced. So if people feel like I need to show remorse, I'm not going to show them any remorse, because I am not remorseful.
Bail was posted for you.
Yes.
And eventually. So basically, you don't believe in those charges that have
absolutely not.
Pressed against
bogus.
You. What's the way forward in court? But bail also took quite a while before you got out.
Because there was
quickly
all these,
on that.
Yes, bail was granted around 11 o'clock Monday morning. The court order only got to the police 2 p.m. on Tuesday. As at 2 p.m., we were at court on that day, so all the police who needed to go and do like the verification process for the sureties, all the investigators were at the court premises, and we only left the court premises around 4:30. And the court registrar had actually said to our families and the people who wanted to do sureties that, oh, on Wednesday, I'm not coming to work. So basically, that would mean that, if anything, would only be released by Thursday. And that's why I did the post, because I was trying to show and highlight how the system, even though you've been granted bail on Monday, as at Tuesday evening, nothing has happened. The process hasn't moved along anywhere. And I'm not...
Do you think it was an attempt to still show you something?
Show you where the power lies, absolutely. But even if it's not just about that and it's complete incompetence or inefficiency, it still needs to stop. And it needs to be highlighted, and awareness needs to be drawn. It's not just about me, because these are things that are affecting everyday Ghanaians who end up within this system. So it's not just about me.
I want you to make this final point before we go. The BBC, among others, captured this in different ways, maybe ignominiously. But tell me about Benjamin Darko, very briefly, and then Oliver Barker-Vormawor, who has still been granted.
So Benjamin did not. Benjamin is a friend of mine. We've worked together for like 2 years. Benjamin did not attend this protest. He didn't attend day 1, day 2, day 3. He went when Oliver was admitted in hospital after being arrested. He went to visit him in the hospital, and he was arrested at the police hospital. Benjamin did not attend the protest, but he's one of the conveners for the protest, but he did not actually attend it. So Benjamin has 4 charges. So it just shows you that they're targeting certain people. Yes, there was randomers who got dragged along in order to try and mask the real message, but it's just about trying to silence people who are standing up for something.
Oliver Barker-Vormawor.
Oliver has still not been granted bail. Yesterday, Oliver was ill. He was rushed to the hospital. When he got to the hospital, the police, when you're a suspect in custody, the police is responsible for all of your hospital bills. The police could not afford the tests and the medication. They couldn't afford it. So Oliver was taken back to the police cells. As we're speaking, he's back in the police cells because the police who have kept him, the system which has kept him under remand cannot afford to even take care of him. So if Oliver dies right now, it's on the system and it's on the state.
Felicity, we'll find more opportunities of interacting with you, but thank you so much for joining this conversation, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you for having me.
One brave young woman.
And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's supporting us, who's kept the conversation on Galamsey going. Don't give up on the conversation. It's extremely important. Galamsey needs to end now. And free Oliver.
Felicity Nelson is a social justice activist. She joined the conversation with us this morning. Well, so for me, I'm heading out there to join my fellow Catholics as we hit the streets. You're joining us too?
Yes, I'm joining the Catholics.
Okay, all right. So I'll see you there. Up next, we have Joy News Desk. Do stay for that.